Welcome to the Warrant and Finance meeting for May 15th. The first on the agenda is salute the flag of the United States. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Better silence this.
Could I have a motion to approve the minutes from May 8th, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of May 8th, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 6-0. I'm glad everybody could make it tonight. We don't need to appoint any alternates, but please remember that your voice is more than welcome. Before we go on to old business, I don't know if everybody had a chance to look at the memo that was sent out at the last selectmen's meeting. APAT was short on what the anticipated revenues, and they need to, it's $1,488, and the selectmen want to take money from the 15,000 emergency fund. I guess that isn't what it's called anymore, which is kind of ironic, because I think it was last meeting Charlie asked how often we use that. And I said, it's been used twice in 10 years, and a couple of days later, we were going to use some of the money. This is strictly because the drop in participation with the cable company, because the fees we receive 4% or 5%, which originally was to run the station, and those fees have cut by a good 30% that we receive. So a year ago, there was no way that Mike would have any idea what the revenues would be. He had some idea, but it wasn't quite right. So what we need to do is, I would look for a recommendation to allow the selectmen to move the funds from the undesignated fund balance to the APAT.
Is there an article on that, or is it,
No.
we just need, okay.
No, that doesn't need to be an article. Go.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to,
Hold on.
Article 14,
Yep.
Article 14 has to do with carry forward balances. It has nothing to do with,
These are both
We're
titled
looking
Article
at the
14.
old warrant, Charlie.
so this is, why, well, this, you just handed this out.
Yeah, the one that we just handed out is the current one.
This is the old warrant. Am I right?
The old, first one,
The one she copied that from?
yeah, Article 14 is from last year.
Yeah.
It's from the 22-23
So what,
town meeting. So
just-
look at Article 64 on the bottom of the page.
oh, this is, okay.
This is an old warrant, and she just copied it and sent it to us.
this is just for information, so we know
Right.
what we're looking at and why we're doing this. All right, so I'll make a motion to, allow the selectmen to move $1,488 from the undesignated fund for the purpose of, covering the shortage, from the franchise fees
For APAT.
for APAT.
Please,
Can I have a second?
A second.
All right, go ahead, Charlie.
please entertain this. You say both these Articles 64 and 14, these are just historical.
Yes,
So what article are we talking about modifying?
we aren't modifying, we don't have a warrant article. It just says in the language that's in the warrant that in order to be able to spend these monies, they need a recommendation from the Warrant and Finance.
Because it's over $500. I
Right.
understand that.
So it's not an article per se. We're just,
Why, well, since it's not really an emergency, why don't we just have the published articles change the dollar amount?
I think that money is it for this year?
yes, it's for this year.
Yeah.
And with,
Oh, this is for this
I believe so.
current-
This current
Excuse me,
year.
Tom?
yes,
Nay?
it-
For this year, yeah.
and we got, what, another 6 weeks left in the year?
Franchise revenue from cable.
Okay.
Less than
Way
expected.
down, yeah.
So we need to, the selectmen would like to use from last year's warrant.
Yep,
Okay, it just
yeah.
A little confusing.
poorly worded. I mean, I just didn't understand what we were doing here. Okay, so
Yep.
it has nothing to do with what we-
It's not,
what we're talking
we're
about.
not voting on this.
Sounds good.
Just trying to get them through the year, Charlie.
I think that's a fine idea.
Any more discussion? All in favor? So there's one behind us. Next on the agenda is reviewing the answers that Tom sent us, but I think it would be easier to answer these questions when we get to the warrant article that we're making a recommendation on. I think it'd be less confusing and probably be more expedient to do it that way. So, as you see, you guys have a no expense summary sheet, which is good information when we get to the warrant articles. The first one we're gonna do is the conditional use permits, Article 5. Unless there's an objection, I'm not gonna read that, I'll just state what the changes are. They're going from 10 days to 7 days on notices.
We like listening to you talk.
You know? Well, after the length of the last meeting, I figured if I did all the talking, it might go to 10 o'clock this time.
Well, I just need to make a public apology. I made a comment last month, or last... was it?
2 weeks.
No, last week.
Who knows, Charlie?
At our last meeting,
Regarding the 7-day that was in here, and I said that, you know, there were some items that require 13-day notice by statute, and there is, but not for conditional use, only for rezoning. So just an FYI for
Okay, thank you for
future
that,
notice.
Charlie. So we might have to do it sometime, but not for this.
Nope, but just jog your mind sometime.
Thank you, Charlie. Could I have a recommendation on Article 5, please?
I'll make a recommendation to accept Article 5 as written.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 6-0. Article 6 is proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance relative to conditional use.
page 2.
Yeah, page 2.
So this one here that you printed out was ones that were changed since our last meeting.
I think there were a couple of changes we have to,
Yeah, well, I don't think there was any changes in this one,
Well, there was.
there were,
in Article 6.
Yeah, the one we're just talking about right now.
Yeah.
Solar farms.
Okay,
Land use ordinance.
talk to me, Charlie.
5.29.1, remember last week I had mentioned on 5.29.2, they just needed to change the word medium to small, and it is done in this printed copy.
That's Article
Revised.
7,
Right, we're in Article
Yeah,
6.
no, we're not there
Article
yet.
6.
this is very,
Top of page 2.
I thought this is, oh, excuse me,
Thank you, Charlie.
slap me.
No, I appreciate
No.
you confusing me. It
I
does-
confuse me.
It does me a lot of good. So anyway, I believe Article 6 is just like it was presented last time.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Did I get a motion on that?
Motion to approve as written.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why they would, for a conditional use, that the Town of Acton needs a certificate of insurance, citing the Acton on the certificate of insurance and for any conditional use. I don't understand that.
Where are you?
Under
Under-
B,
yeah.
where it says no changes shall be made to any conditional use without approval of the change by the planning board.
Yeah, and the part that catches me is the certificate of insurance, citing the Town of Acton. So, I don't find that to be,
The thing that I found confusing about it is proposed amendment to zoning ordinance relative to conditional use permits. And then it says, the new operator will provide a certificate of insurance. Well, the new operator of what? You can have a conditional use permit for many things. And it can be your house. It can be a house. I get the feeling that this is, I mean, who would that be?
So do you think this is directed at?
I think it's directed at pits.
At businesses.
Businesses and
stuff
pits.
like that, but
Yeah. But if it says, I mean, I don't think it's written in the renewal of any surety pertaining to the project. What project? I think it's poorly written, number one.
Well,
conditional use wouldn't be just,
we have to go back and we actually have to have the land use ordinance, and I don't have my copy with me here today. But we need a copy of that just to find out what Article 6 is in the land use ordinance.
Leslie, can you look that up? Because this is new verbiage,
Right.
yeah.
right, even when you look at A, it's an increase in area of 25% or
5%.
more,
Right.
which wouldn't be it could be a business, but
Yeah, it could be a home use of it, you know.
I could have a home-based,
Something,
business that I needed a conditional use for,
yeah,
you know.
right, but
So are you able to bring that up or no?
What? I'm trying to find it.
Okay.
I was pulling up Acton, Mass, so I don't think that'll help us.
you might. While she's looking that up, just a reminder, I might not agree with the moderator at town meeting, but he likes to have positive motions. And we've had a discussion a few times. He isn't going to accept negative motions. So everything we do tonight, I would like to see a positive motion. And even if we agree, even if we decide to vote against the warrant article, for example, whatever warrant article is, if we're all against it, somebody make a motion to approve the article as written, and then we'd vote 0-6. I see your look, Charlie. I don't disagree with you. I've had this conversation with the moderator at the town meeting, and I'd rather not waste our time.
I understand the rationale, because it can be very confusing to have let's say the select board votes, whatever it is, 3-0 in favor, and then, the warrant finance, we vote 6-0 ought not to pass. It can cause confusion.
Right.
Or 5-1 or 4-2.
Whatever it is.
So I understand.
Yeah.
his
Why does that
rationale.
cause confusion?
Because people have a hard time figuring out, okay, well, they look at the number and it says 3-0 and it says 6-0, so it must be golden, must be good to go. And they may not read the text.
Okay.
And if, well, we did historically, like Charlie was saying, say it'd be 6-0 or not to pass. And people seem to,
But by parliamentary rules, it is allowed.
I know,
Don't you use the word pass or not pass, or whatever the other word is, on these recommendations below each article?
yeah.
So the numbers are relevant anyway, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if
But what
it
they're
says-
saying is that not everyone's reading the fail. They're just reading 6-0.
Right.
But when it says ought not pass, that is pretty self-explanatory.
Right, but they're not
And
reading
even
the ought not
Even the
pass.
legislature uses ought not pass.
Right.
Correct.
They're just not reading it.
I
put the
agree.
verbiage first.
I just don't want to
But
waste our time
if
at
we
town
just
meeting.
use
Exactly.
if we just use
Pointless to argue it.
the way to do this is you go ahead and have an affirmative vote, 2 in favor, 4 against, or whatever it
Yeah.
happens to be, and then you can put after that, ought not pass.
Yeah. Whatever the committee wants.
And that'll stand out, because
I
it's
did-
after everything.
I think that's a good idea, Charlie,
Well-
because you're making it clear that we don't like it.
No, you're not.
Why
Because if it's 2 to 4 vote.
No, what he's saying is, do it the way, Richard wants us to do it, and if it fails, then, at the end, put in ought not pass.
Yeah, but we just agreed nobody reads the verbiage.
Yep.
Well,
Right.
because it's all the way at the leading edge. My experience is people just don't read this.
Right.
And so, they look at the numbers and everyone's in agreement, and then have this off to the side. It sets it off, it's not in the text. You can write ought not pass, and your eyes will follow to that. Whereas if the ought not pass is first and then your numbers, people probably won't see that.
So I guess the issue is everybody fine with what I said?
It was so long ago, I forgot what it was.
What is it you said? What is it you said?
I think it was good, though.
Okay.
I mean, I personally think that we should just do it the way Parliament allows and just have ought not pass.
And,
But
You guys
but I
can argue this
understand- I
with the
understand
moderator at the
Richard's-
meeting.
No, I understand
Right.
his rationale.
And don't forget, the moderator uses the Maine State Moderator's Handbook.
Yeah.
Not
Robert's rule.
Robert's rules. So there can be some slight variation.
Very
maybe,
little in
maybe
this
not.
matter.
Very little,
Right.
yeah, but
what'd you come up with, Leslie?
So really, I mean, the ordinance reads, except what's added, I mean,
Yeah.
But what's Article 6, what does Article 6 cover?
it's, proposed amendments to the zoning, ordinance, relative to conditional use.
No, in the ordinance itself.
okay,
It's in the section where there's, appeals for zoning and all of that, that's the section that this is in.
Right, but there's a 6.6.1,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
0.3.2.
6.3.2. What's
Point
there?
3.2
Yeah,
is existing conditional use or structure.
okay, and then it says,
It says, a conditional use which existed prior to the effective date of this ordinance may not be changed to another conditional use nor substantially expanded or altered, except in conformity with all regulations of this ordinance pertaining to conditional uses. Substantial expansion shall be defined as A, an increase in area of 25% or more, or B, new materials or processes not previously associated with the existing use.
Okay.
No changes shall be made in any approved conditional use without approval of the change by the planning board.
And that's.
Right, so anything that is shaded and underlined is what's added. Everything else is the same.
Right.
Okay, so your question,
My question is, why, why do they have to provide a certificate of insurance citing the town of Acton? Now, if I have a home business, why do I have to indemnify the town of Acton?
you only have to if you increase the size or change the use.
Well, I know that, but still, I mean, I wouldn't have had to do that before, why would I have to do it now?
I don't know, we'd have
It
to
makes-
ask the planning board what
it
their
makes-
rationale was.
It makes no sense to require a small business to do that. You know, you're requiring, this should cover, this should be a condition of the actual permit, not a general
Not an
catch-all,
ordinance.
everyone has to do it. Because it could not make sense to have everyone do it.
I understand what you're saying. It can easily be one of the conditions
It could.
of the permit.
Right, it could, and
Which is-
that's where that insurance should be taken care of, not requiring every single applicant to require this.
Okay, what about, see, we really should have the planning board here for this, but what about if there was the word, if required, comma, before the word, the new operator?
But, you know, but at this point,
At this
Charlie, we
point, we
can't
can't.
change any of
No,
the
but we can-
articles.
Okay, I agree, we can't change it at
So-
this
The
time.
purpose of
I mean,
tonight is
this is
strictly
all-
to
this is
vote
all
on them,
moot. We
correct?
need to
There's
just-
no changes, there's no
Yeah, but-
talking to anybody, it's just
As written.
voting.
Yeah.
Correct.
But we should have had.
And the
more time
selectmen
to-
sign it.
It's over, all right? It shouldn't have been jammed like.
But we can't change that.
The intent is the
Well, we
selectmen are
can
gonna
change it.
sign it Wednesday night.
Then
We
without-
agreed last meeting that we were gonna, whether, just vote as they're written.
Correct.
now and not
We did.
dwell on
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
No.
I'm just thinking out loud for a town meeting.
Thank you,
Well-
Charlie.
Absolutely.
Charlie, so far, 3 times you thought out loud tonight,
Is that dangerous or
Confused.
And
what?
we've just started.
and you acknowledge that.
Okay. All in favor of Article 6, please raise your right hand. Those against, please raise your right hand. Joe?
I didn't vote either way. So,
0-5, 1 abstention?
If you were gonna abstain, Joe, you need to have a reason and document it why you're abstaining.
you want it written?
No, but you're supposed to state it if you abstain.
I was a little bit confused by what Leslie brought up, which made sense. And I'm also concerned that the timing of these meetings that we have are such that if there's questions that we have or things that we might want to change, it is not doable in the sense of the way the meetings are scheduled. And so that's why I was kind of abstaining from the whole thing, so.
Well, we can't change that now.
Right.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah,
It happens
but
every year.
I mean-
Every year, we can't change it because the stuff is just shoved at us.
Oh,
and
Nobody's arguing with you, but.
Okay, well, this
you know,
shouldn't be, okay?
But your vote says what you want it to say.
But I mean, in lieu of abstaining, then you could just vote no.
Okay, I'll vote no to make it.
And that way, and that way,
All right.
it can be addressed at the town meeting.
Because all we're concerned with is how it's worded as is right now.
Okay, all
Obviously,
right.
we
all
know
right.
this is an issue with scheduling. All we're looking at is.
But Phil, I think in the future, it should be open to discussion as taxpayers,
Oh, yeah.
along with
that
whomever.
can-
That happens at the town
Town
meeting.
meeting.
Yeah,
That'll
yeah,
happen.
but I know, but
Correct. Yeah.
it could carry on for a
But-
long meeting too. It could be
So-
done beforehand too.
So
So now-
0-6 ought not to pass?
5-1.
5-1 ought not
He
pass.
changed his
He
vote.
changed his vote to no.
Oh, okay.
So 5-1 ought not pass, is that what we're saying?
No,
Now we're
zero.
saying 0 to 6.
0 to
ought not
6.
pass.
Whoa, one person.
You're right, 0 to 6.
Okay.
says. The motion was to accept the article as written.
Make sure that this is right, so, because here's our record of the thing. 06, correct? Okay.
Or, could even cause even more confusion. How about if we write 06, motion failed? Actually write that out, motion failed.
Yeah, I like that better.
Yeah, I think that'll read better.
Not pass is not real. No. Definitive.
Not
Like
with
a
the way you're
suggestion.
using the numbers, no.
Like a suggestion.
Motion failed as written.
Article 7 is the proposed amendments to zoning ordinance relative to solar energy systems.
I'll make a motion to accept Article 7 as written.
Second.
Harley got his word.
You got your word in there, Charlie?
Well, no. If
Yes,
you look at the bottom of page 3, they still have another medium use of mechanical.
Are you kidding?
That's what you wanted to change, wasn't it, Charlie?
No.
It was either small or large.
Right, but it was in a different place.
Okay,
So you found another one.
well,
Where is it? I don't,
Bottom of page
bottom
3.
page 3,
Shaded area.
right down the bottom.
That medium means something different than size.
Right.
And also
That has to
to,
do with, heat transfer.
Another type.
yeah, I don't think that has to do with the size of it,
Right.
does it?
That's not size.
also to, there's been no reconciliation with the point that Dennis brought up, that according to our good neighbor policy, this is unenforceable. They conflict.
Okay, where was this again?
The, good neighbor policy.
Yeah.
Is there,
Dennis, where is that in the, ordinance? Or
Good
in-
neighbor ordinance,
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I don't either. I don't,
I know it's there.
Yep.
oh, I do too. It's, all right, here we are, page 56.
I mean, without really getting into the good neighbor ordinance, to defend my point, I think it's a town meeting issue at this point. You know what I mean? Unless somebody objects to getting in all the details. In fairness to us, I guess, and to what Joe was saying, I just want to stop a second here. And our meetings and what we're going to do with our meetings is pretty well publicized. And any committee or board that wants to come to see what's going on at the Warrant and Finance Committee and what we're going to do, they're always more than welcome. You know, nobody's has told anybody that they can't come to our meetings and address any questions we might have. That's a choice they make. So that's why, in a sense, we can't change anything. It's kind of futile at this point. I think it's, rather than try to answer some of the questions that we might have, we just have to go with yes or no.
Correct.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
okay.
Go ahead, Charlie.
I have two housekeeping issues. This is something Tom might be able to exercise some thought on, is, and Leslie and Marguerite might even have good input on this. And it wouldn't require a hearing or anything because it's housekeeping. 529.2A2.
What page are you on?
Page 4. Well, on this new one? Where am I on the new one?
Which we have.
Okay, yeah, same page 4. Should not land use department be capitalized, each one? Because it is a distinct entity.
I think it should be, but I think that's a minor point.
Well, it's just housekeeping, but
I mean, it's, at this point, Charlie, do we, would,
it's nothing that I would hold up the article on, but it's something that could be changed and reprinted, because you guys haven't signed the articles yet.
I'll make note of it.
Yeah, I mean, and the other item, this is something that I did mention, and it's partially corrected. On page 5, just above E standards, there should be 4 asterisks, because there's a break in sequence. There's no B, C, and D, they're missing. And you're just jumping, you're adding in E, or you're changing E. It looks like you're adding all of E. It's a break in sequence,
Yep.
so there should be 4 asterisks there.
I'm not familiar with the use of that.
Well, it's in there, it's in the definition, asterisks, and there's 4 of them, indicates an existing word omitted before or after the warrant for clarity, or for warrant clarity. And so,
No?
On what you were saying though, Charlie,
for us, for our purposes, I would have to vote no because it's not there.
but I guess a point of order would be, if the selectmen change anything other than what we see tonight, then we have to meet again.
Not housekeeping,
Well, this
do
is
they?
just housekeeping.
You honestly believe if you're changing anything in this zoning, regardless of what it is,
But for housekeeping changes, there's no hearing required, there's no meeting required.
Right.
It's an in-house, it's a typo issue. That's what housekeeping is. You're not changing the meaning, you're not adding text really or anything.
I appreciate that.
I have no problem leaving it the way it is, just to avoid any sort of parliamentary issues. So let's leave it the way it is, and if the next time we update the zoning, we can change it. I don't think it changes the read of it at all.
No, it doesn't affect the
Yeah,
article.
so, let's not change it, let's leave it the way it is, and, okay.
I agree with what you're saying, Charlie. I'm just nervous about procedure.
and the good neighbor policy, it's talking, I think Dennis, what you were referring to, the visual. The development must provide for the buffering of adjacent uses where there is a transition from one type of use to another use, and for the screening of mechanical equipment, service and storage areas. Buffering must be designed to provide a year-round visual screen in order to minimize adverse impacts. It may consist of fencing, evergreens, berms, rocks, shoulders, mounds, or a combination thereof. So that's in our good neighbor policy.
So it doesn't have to block the view.
That's what I said, must. Must is, yes.
It must block the view?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
You should not be able, you cannot see it.
From the road or the lake.
Okay.
Anywhere.
neighbor.
Unlike the
Neighbor.
beach.
so my question to that is, that's just the policy in the town, right?
No.
No, it's
an
in the
ordinance.
ordinance.
It is an ordinance.
Yes.
Good enough.
It's in an ordinance.
And there's more in there without really delving into it. That's in conflict with the solar ordinance.
Yeah.
But the key word is must.
Right.
Yeah, as long as it's an ordinance, I
It is an
agree with you
ordinance.
100%.
So,
Any more discussion on the solar? Boy, I'm not doing good tonight.
I found one other thing on solar. When I was looking at the first warrant we got to the second one, and it was the addition of the sureties. The sureties shall be kept in effect throughout the lifetime. Planning board designee every 10 years. Blah, blah, renewed and adjusted as necessary. Blah, blah.
And that wasn't in our last version,
That wasn't in the last one we got,
last week.
right.
And that was the one that we had trouble with last year, because how do you know, who's gonna make that determination? Do they have the requisite,
My thought even,
knowledge in order to determine what is required and what is not? And
well, I
it's
think
not
that's,
spelled out
I
enough.
actually believe that's something that can be worked out, because we're talking about revegetating when it's gone and all that. But I do not believe that when this all went to public hearing on it, that wasn't there.
Oh, it wouldn't have been because we didn't have it.
No, it wasn't, it wasn't there. So this was added after the public hearing. So the public did not know about this and had no input in it.
Well, I thought it was.
I don't think so.
So,
Do you find it in there? I could have missed it.
Yeah, it's in my copy from a week ago.
Is it? I could have missed it.
It is.
I mean, it's there. But as far as the one that was published at the time of the public hearing.
Right.
I don't have that with me.
Okay.
There's just too much stuff to carry.
See,
But I tend to remember that being there. Matter of fact, what I do have.
if it is, let's just move on.
Just double check. No, that's not gonna be there.
Okay, my mistake, guys.
okay.
You found it?
Actually, I went back and I looked at last year's warrant, and it was in last year's warrant.
Yeah, I remember. I tend to remember it being there.
Okay, all in favor of Article 7? Please raise your right hand for yes. Those opposed, please raise your right hand for no. What you doing, Joe?
That's the left hand.
06, that was your left hand, Joe.
I know. I have arthritis, and I have my shoulder's gone, my right shoulder's gone.
You bring a note, Nancy.
No,
Okay,
brain.
I'll allow it then, but
Get you a fake arm and
See, yeah, I got a fake brain.
join the crowd.
Had hard enough time getting that.
oh, let's see.
So 6-0 motion failed as written.
06.
0-6, sorry.
Yeah. I'm looking for,
Okay, sorry.
go ahead,
It
Charlie.
is in the copy that was issued to us the first time they came.
Okay, great. Yeah, because this is from last year's, and it wasn't there yet.
But no, it is there.
I knew I had that copy.
Good.
Okay, what I'm looking for is,
Article 8.
Article 8.
Page 6.
Page 6.
Halfway down.
Okay, I went past it. Oh,
8.
oh, that's page 7. The next is the proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance relative to mineral extraction industry.
I'll make a motion to accept Article 8 as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion. I will say about this, I think it was 3 weeks ago, at a selectmen's meeting, I asked for the specific changes that were made on April 6th, by the planning board. And I said I didn't want the whole ordinance. All I just wanted was the specific changes that was added to the zoning. And I never received it, and we got the zoning ordinance from the public hearing, and we got the zoning ordinance after the changes. And to tell you the truth, it was just too time consuming to try to figure out what was changed on April 6th for me. I couldn't figure it out.
Between my notes and that, they've corrected everything that I know I had commented about. I don't have record of everything now. And there's a couple things that I've noticed since that need to be changed, but it's not important right now.
Dennis, did we ever get a clarification on whether the current conditional uses, can be changed?
Yes,
They can be?
they can be.
Okay.
What did you say?
They can't be.
They can or cannot?
Cannot.
Okay.
Can't use the word
Please.
grandfather.
Tom might answered that question.
All right, I just wanted to clarify whether that,
Then the bottom of page 10, if somebody
The only
would,
thing, excuse me, the only thing can be changed is the amount that we estimate.
Right.
after they've already been given an escrow?
Right, because it's revised every once in a while.
But that was not in their current permit that it would be revised. So for me, that is a problem, that you issue a permit and after the fact, you're operating and all of a sudden they say, oh, well, let's change your permit now, when you are in operation. And you might not necessarily have, made plans for whatever it is that they're requiring. And if they're required to change one thing, they could require to change another, and then another, and then another, and there could be no end to it.
Well, that's true. But
they're talking about inspections that never happened before, if I'm reading this right, that were not in their contract.
Look at it this way, Charlie, you're given an occupancy permit and zoning changes, all right? Now, we all know that new zoning, you have to have a hardwired fire and, smoke detector. Is there 100% hardwired smoke detectors in town? Absolutely not. Because why don't they? Because we don't go back in and make them update it until they come in to do new work. It is the same principle. You're given a permit, and until you change something, they can't require you to update it.
But where's that three-year?
Go ahead, Tom.
Tom?
I don't mean to interrupt, Charlie.
No.
No, we're fine with interrupting Charlie from one to
Just
one.
want to read what we got from the lawyer, you can figure out what it means. It says, "The proposed amendments will have prospective application only. They will not apply to any existing permitted pits. The planning board cannot make changes to existing permits based on the amendments." So that indicates they can't change the escrow. Having said that, I've been told they can, but it's inconsistent with what the
Right.
council has said here. I don't know what to tell you about that, but that's what I got.
Who told you,
Okay?
who told you you can then? It wasn't the attorney, was it?
No, I think it may have been the code officer. I'm terrible at memory,
Okay.
but I believe that's where it came from.
Yeah.
Okay?
See, that sort of brings to issue exactly what I'm thinking. Such existing approved operations will schedule within 1 year of the effective date of this ordinance, and every 3 years thereafter. The inspection outlined above with the code officer, and that's A, B, C, D, and E. So those are changes.
Yeah, but it doesn't carve out Leslie's concern about.
I also recall,
Just
and
another-
correct me if I'm wrong, the code officer saying we want all of the pits to operate open at the same time and close down at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
I think
So
that-
And
but
that
that-
included the
I think that's their
existing
goal.
pit, that's, well, that goal is not attainable unless these pits come back in for an updated
Yes,
use.
but I don't think the town has.
I don't think that's on here at all.
Yeah, I don't think that's in here, and I don't think
It's
the town
not-
would
it's
want
not
to
on-
cross that bridge.
No.
Yeah, because that's
I
a
think that-
lawsuit waiting to happen.
Again,
Oh, yeah, big ones, and the town would lose.
I think, again, for whatever reason, this is just a poorly written part of this thing, because I don't think it's saying really what they want it to say. If it said what they wanted it to say, they'd be able to change things.
And that's a good reason in that case to vote it no.
To say no, because if it's poorly written, why are we,
go by the
why are we saying,
You
yeah, go
have to go by
ahead?
the wording.
As is.
When,
Agree to that.
without any objection,
Let's vote.
I'm gonna call for a vote on this. All in favor of Article 8 is written, raise your right hand. Those opposed? 06.
Dennis, did you want me to read these or no?
I was just gonna say, Margarita, do you wanna read these things tonight?
I don't mind.
Article 9.
Do you want me to wait till she comes back since she's a
No, go
voting?
ahead.
No,
Oh,
okay.
she'll be all right.
Article 9, to see if the town will authorize the select board to appropriate and expend monies from the unassigned fund balance for the purchase of equipment or to use as they deem advisable to meet unanticipated expenses and emergencies that occur during the fiscal year 2023 to 2024. Expenditures in excess of $500 shall require advice and recommendation of the Warrant and Finance Committee. Maximum expenditure of $15,000.
I'll make a motion to accept Article 9 as written.
Do a second.
Second.
And this is exactly what we were dealing with when we first started tonight, was this warrant article. This is just, it's there every year. Hasn't changed for a long time.
Thirsty.
You all ready to vote, Joyce?
Yep.
All in favor? 6-0.
May I just ask who approved? Who mo-
I made the motion,
Who made
Charlie
it and who-
I
seconded.
seconded.
Thank you.
Article 10.
I would like to, waive the reading on Article 11, tell you the truth.
We have
We haven't got
to,
there
We
yet.
haven't gotten there yet.
We're looking at 10 now.
I was just moving along.
Good job.
Nice try.
Go ahead, Margarita. Go ahead, Margarita.
I think he's more antsy to keep rolling tonight. Article 10, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to dispose of surplus town-owned equipment, with the exception of road equipment, having a value of less than or equal to $500, on such terms and conditions as they deem advisable, and to execute any necessary documents to accomplish said purpose. All equipment having a value of more than $500 shall be put out to public bid. Funds received from such sales shall be placed in the unassigned fund balance.
I'll make a motion to accept Article 10 as written.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 6-0. Joe, if you want, just hold your pen up. That way there,
There you go.
that way there you don't have to raise your arm.
Oh, there it is.
How's that, buddy?
That's all right. No, I got it right here. This is my new-
There you go, trigger arm, boom.
I don't want to cause you any pain.
This is on standby.
Okay. I don't want to cause you any pain. Article 11,
You want to pass reading
I
it?
would pass reading that unless somebody has some objection.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept Article 11 as written.
Second.
Just for clarification, this is one of the articles that the selectmen joined with other articles to shorten the amount of warrant articles for the...
Gotcha.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Well, Leslie had a.
Oh, was this the
Oh,
one
go
where I
ahead.
did?
Leslie had a discussion on this one regarding the return of residuals to the former owner.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think that we should be, making money in someone else's
Misfortune.
misfortune, and, so I have a problem with, the town keeping the excess funds.
And I happen to agree with her.
And who makes that decision, it's been said that we don't often keep the money, but who makes that decision?
The selectmen.
I understand, but, I mean, it's, if it's not one rule for everyone, you run into problems with favoritism, why did you do it for this person and not for that? It's just there's a lot of room for, negativity, and
I think this is covered by state law, though.
Joyce, state law allows them to do that, but it's not a legal question, it's a moral question.
Maybe it's something the selectmen that would address with their policy.
They could, that would make me feel better, but like I said, this isn't a legal problem, it's a moral question.
Okay. Anything else? All in favor of Article 11, please. By raising your right hand.
Oh, we're voting already?
2.
Let me see.
Is it yes or no, Ray?
I'm dithering.
You changed your mind.
No, I was
He's
looking
helping
at,
Joe by,
He's got his hand way up there, he's trying hard.
really, he's got you covered, Joe.
Okay. Those against? Okay, guys, we're not gonna do this.
You're gonna abstain.
Was that 3 and 3?
Yeah,
You abstained, or you abstained last time.
okay. That's what I'm gonna do this time. To break the tie vote.
So you're gonna do 3, 2, 1?
No,
No.
it's 2,
It's 2,
3,
3.
1.
2, 3, 1.
Okay.
You guys did that pretty good there, moving along. That was good.
Then
All right,
don't start
Dennis, Article
talking
12.
about it.
That could have been 10 minutes of conversation.
So proud of you guys.
Article 12,
To see if the town will vote to have real estate and personal property taxes first payment come due on October 17th, 2023, and the second payment on April 17th, 2024. Interest to be charged at 4% on all taxes paid after October 17th, 2023, and April 17th, 2024, and interest on abated taxes to be paid by the town at 4% pursuant to 36 MRSA 506-A, and to authorize the tax collector to accept the prepayment of taxes before the tax commitment with no interest.
I'll make a motion to accept Article 12 as written.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
What was that, just basically a change in the interest rate?
Yeah, and the date.
Just as an aside, I don't think they're referred to as MRSA anymore. They dropped the A, it's just MRS.
Housekeeping.
You'll remember that another year, Charlie.
I remember that several years ago when it changed.
Really? All in favor?
what was the previous
It was higher, wasn't it?
date?
Yeah, it was higher.
What's that,
What
right?
was the previous date?
15 and 15.
Oh, the 15th, but the way they,
It depends on the
What, 7%?
it
calendar.
was
Something like
7 or 8% the
Following
last
the
time.
IRS, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I vote no on the IRS all the time.
Okay, so,
Article 12, all in favor? 6-0. Article 13,
To see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to make application for and execute any documents related to any grant or donation, to accept any such grants or donations, or any fees and appropriate such funds for their designated use, so long as they do not require matching funds or encumber the town in any way. The treasurer shall be notified of any grant applications, and a copy shall be kept on file in the treasurer's office. To further see if the town will vote to accept revenues received from MEMA/FEMA claims during the upcoming fiscal year into the Emergency Disaster Reserve Fund, and to vote to accept any and all funds received from the state of Maine and the federal government and appropriate any designated revenues received to their designated use. Said funds are to be appropriated at the discretion of the select board to restore budgets of the various departments for expenses incurred during a declared event. The appropriations shall not exceed the expenditures incurred during the declared event.
I'll make a motion to accept Article 13 as written.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 6-0. Article 14.
Did you want me to read all of this, or just the beginning part, Dennis?
Just to begin, it's fine.
To see if the town will vote to carry forward the following fund balances and allow the balance carried forward to be appropriated to the designated departments for the ensuing year.
Can I have a motion on Article 14,
I'll
please?
make a motion to accept Article 14 as written.
Second. Did you get clarification on cemetery committee fund versus funds?
There's actually
That was
Article 14.
Oh, it's my error. I keep looking at the one that was published last week. No, it's still a S there.
yeah. Charlie?
Well, there are
You need to
funds
forgive
and
me.
fund.
You need to forgive me, I forgot the S
Oh,
Wait,
when it comes to the question, because there was two questions.
okay, but aren't there actually there are designated cemetery funds,
Yes.
but there is now, I believe, a cemetery fund.
Right.
The designated funds, which,
We have-
Tom, would that be a reserve account?
We have
for
6 of
those
them.
6 cemetery funds?
Aren't they under trust or something?
Yeah.
Right.
They're in
well,
a trust or something?
The trust is separate.
Yeah,
You can't mix those funds
No, well,
by
you-
statute.
Right, but.
No, but
those
it'd still be fun, so.
With an
Charlie.
S,
But it
but,
doesn't come into our budget.
well, they shouldn't,
Right.
but they do. They shouldn't at all.
No, I agree.
But like, if you remember, they wanted $10,000 to go into a cemetery fund. So it is 2 different,
No, that was, they wanted to add $10,000 to the cemetery.
Two different articles.
it's
That's
2
different articles.
Right.
But it's only one committee.
Can I read you, I'm sorry, can I read you a note, Jennifer, clarifying this?
Sure.
Clarifying my comment at the last meeting where I said the reserve accounts wouldn't be available until after the audit. I'm guessing when you told them we wouldn't have it until June 30, you were assuming it was a reserve account. The cemetery committee actually only has 2 accounts. One with the $3,000 operating budget in it, now down to $40.50, and their capital account, which after the last tree cutting bill is paid this week, will have $926. So they have 2 accounts.
Okay, they do have
Does that
2.
clarify it for
That's
everyone?
fine. That's just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Because we had a question about it last week and
Thank you, Tom.
You bet. Thank Jennifer.
Thank Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer.
Shall we vote?
Yeah, we all set with that? All in favor?
Hold on.
Oh,
We're still looking at, with the question answered, there's a second part on that aspect, talking about the bridge culvert capital reserve and the West Shore Bridge capital reserve account.
Let me read on, okay? Also, they asked why a couple of accounts are not listed in the warrant to roll over. We wanted to let you know it did happen on one, the West Shore Drive Bridge and Culvert Capital Improvement Fund. However, the other one is the Statutory Bridge Culvert Capital Improvement reserve. Due to it being an actual reserve, it automatically rolls over and does not need to be listed. Does that answer your question? There you go.
It's listed down under the informational also, Ray. There's a number of statutory reserve accounts.
For the statutory bridge and culvert capital improvement account.
Right.
But there's other ones too.
Okay, well, I have a
And
question
they're-
when we get down to there. I guess
Well, we're down there.
We're down there
There.
now.
Down there.
That's part of 14.
there's a statutory town hall parking lot capital reserve account? How is that statutory?
It's however it was set up. It's kind of like the Article 43 thing, that's a statutory, and they,
This was just something set up as a reserve account at the town meeting, what, 1 or 2 years ago?
yeah,
Oh, even
It
before
was
that,
$75,000.
My understanding, it does not need to be specifically carried forward. It is a reserve for that purpose only and can only be spent for that purpose. So there's no need to carry it forward. Why it has a caption of statutory, I don't know, but it does, so you can vote it up or down accordingly.
Yeah, because my understanding of that word.
Yeah, I get you, yeah.
And then the other thing, this is something that I'm feeding off of something that you had mentioned on a different article regarding dollar amounts and people asking for a hell of a lot more money than what they need or that they expend, and then just having it carry forward, and all of a sudden having this big wad of cash sitting on the side. And this is not gonna change anything here, but the carry forwards, should there not be some sort of text or limit to how much can actually be carried forward so that we don't run into that problem? You know, like 25% of what their allocated budget was? Because otherwise, they're not spending their money. Why are we approving articles for these agencies?
go ahead, Tom.
I think all of the reserve accounts are gonna go through a review in the coming year.
They're gonna go what now?
They're gonna go through a review this year.
Right, but I understand.
I understand your point, but at this point, they are what they are, and so we have a process, but I think the Board of Selectmen are going to be going through all of the reserve accounts and decide that, for instance, some have already been, curtailed, I believe, is it paving or yeah, paving?
Paving.
Yeah, we're not carrying it forward anymore. So we'll be doing a complete review of reserve and carry forward accounts this year. We'll try to clean it all up.
And that's working with our new, finance
yeah,
contract. One step at a time.
Yes.
Any more discussion? All in favor? 6-0. Goodness, I'm going backwards. I went back to the zone.
That's not too bad.
really
don't.
in the zone, are you?
You good to move on to 15 yet?
Yes, ma'am.
To see if the town will vote to appropriate fiscal year 2023/2024 anticipated municipal revenues from the categories listed below, and to use funds from the municipal unassigned fund balance to reduce the amount to be raised by taxation during the tax commitment.
I'll make a motion to accept Article 15 as written.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? 6-0. Article 16.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $960,753 for wages, operational expenses, and employer costs of general government and health and welfare.
I'll make a motion to accept Article 16 as written.
Second.
Wow, this changed from last week.
Yeah, it did change.
What changed?
What you got,
Dollar
Charlie?
amount changed.
Did it go down?
Went up 500.
Yeah, that was to put something in, it was, give me a moment. It was $500 something.
It was one of
Goat
the
Hill.
donations.
Expenses for Goat Hill.
That's under general government?
That shouldn't be under general government.
Wouldn't that be,
School management is where it's carried.
Really?
It's in the budget, you know, that's where it is, so do what you want with it.
It might not be next year.
Yeah.
Just as long as know where it came from.
Does this include the wage increases,
Everything,
Yep,
annual wage increase?
everything that has to do with running the municipal part of the government.
The town hall?
Town hall, yeah. Did I ask for motion yet?
I already had one.
You did?
We
That's
have
been
one.
Seconded?
Good,
Yeah.
thank you. So, my mind for some reason isn't really,
Or maybe we didn't, I don't know.
no, we did.
We did.
Leslie and Phil, I believe, seconded.
okey-doke.
We didn't vote though, Dennis.
Yes, we have not voted.
I thank you guys for your guidance tonight. All in favor? 1, 2,
Grudgingly.
5 to 1.
Who's the one?
Me. I'll explain it if you want me, we'll just move on.
No, I had some reservations, but
I'd like to hear it, Dennis.
Within this budget, and I brought it up, I think at the last meeting and maybe some other meetings, there's budgeted amounts that we're not spending, and they just get thrown back in the budget every year. And it's one of the reasons why we end up with the fund balances at the end of the year that we do, which put us, to date, the issue of having excess amount of money in our fund balance. And it's because money just keeps rolling over, and they ask for the same thing the next year. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
How do we deal with that? I mean, as it's written, very generalized.
Oh, and that's fine, and again, I think it goes back to what Tom said about a previous article. I doubt very much with the changes that are coming, that when we do the budget, go through the budget process, I think all this will be addressed next year
Phil also.
with that accounting firm.
Yeah, and I agree, the accounting firm, I think, is gonna make a big difference.
Make a big difference.
The one reason that last week I requested 5 years, so we can put it in a spreadsheet, for each account number, and see what the trends are over the past 5 years. What are we budgeting, what are we expending, you know, and then that way we can, and this'll have to be for next year. That way we can track, what are we over budgeting, you know, consistently. I know one thing that we consistently over budget is elections. We budget $6,000 every year for elections.
Yeah, there were a number.
We don't come close to that, but we still have not reduced that request for that
How do
expenditure.
you resolve then the excess money that's in these various accounts? How do you
I
how do you
think,
get rid of that, as it were?
I think honestly, Phil, with the budgeting company, accounting company, I think it's gonna be so much easier for the Board of Selectmen to look at those diagnostics and say, this doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But it also goes to Leslie's point about if you had 5 years worth of data and you could graph it and see it, pick your graph style, I don't care, you'd be able to see where there's an excess and pinpoint your question on, we need to cut some money out of there because it's not being used, although you're asking for an awful lot.
Okay, so
But regarding this question, which is where you're going, right?
how do you
I don't know how that has
resolve?
anything to do with this.
Right.
But I'm,
Can I make a suggestion?
Go ahead, Don.
At the start of next year's budget cycle, which I hope you start earlier, I would suggest you request to meet with the accounting firm, Warrant and Finance, you know, talk about their approach,
Yeah.
your ideas. Let's get it all on the table and you
Yeah.
can figure these questions out.
You know, and the elephant in the
Sounds
room
good to
too,
me,
Tom,
Tom.
and that's an excellent, suggestion. And the elephant in the room too is we have, you know, in the past years, we've had one selectman who, has any budgetary experience. And, you know, and then he's just starting, so, Tom, and we thank you for that, you know, that experience is invaluable because we've desperately needed it.
Well, you're gonna have it institutionalized in the accounting. People come and go, hopefully you've got a
Right.
system in place
Yeah.
that will carry.
No, but I just wanted to acknowledge
That's key.
yeah, but Tom, I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that, you know, that I understand that, you know, it's, not having the experience in budgeting and finance, is what leads to the issues that we're having right now. And we appreciate all of the work that you have done to help resolve this.
Will Dennis be able to contact them directly, or is
I
that
would
gonna be?
suggest at the start of the budget cycle, Dennis, go to the selectmen and a meeting and
Yeah.
ask for an opportunity for
Yeah.
the Warrant and Finance Committee to meet with them.
Yeah, just a workshop.
And I would support that.
Yeah, just as long as we understand the mechanism, how it's gonna work.
I think you go to the board.
We would follow,
Firm reports to the board.
we would follow the same procedure that the selectmen have the policy on now. Be my thought.
Just wanted to call them.
That would be my
Yeah.
goal.
17.
Article 17,
To see if the town will vote to appropriate $10,000 from the unassigned fund balance to be placed in the town hall parking lot capital reserve account.
Oh my God.
Need a motion?
I make a motion to accept Article 17 as written.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Shouldn't it be specified what this $10,000 is for? I believe it's for engineering, is it not?
Yeah, there was a,
I mean, shouldn't it be-
I'm happy to say, it's for engineering, it's reflected in the minutes. There you go.
Joe, it was one of the ones that they gave an answer to.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna change the,
Well, at this point, we can't, Joe. You
Yeah.
can vote it up or down, but
Yeah.
you gotta go with the words we have.
okay, no, but Tom, it's getting back to what I was saying before. There are changes that could be made, but it's time limited because of the situation we're in with the town meeting. Do you know what I'm saying? I think
gotta
we,
tell you, if I look at this budget process, it needs to be over.
yeah, right, exactly.
It just
yeah.
does. And so I think the accounting firm hopefully will.
Okay.
They do this for a number of towns. They figured it out. They got a game plan. Let's just kind of get to next year and try to figure it out.
All righty.
Okay?
All in favor? Opposed? 5-1. Article 18,
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $912,607 for wages and operational expenses of the Fire Rescue Department, Department 104-03.
can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to accept Article 18 as written.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is there any way we could add on the, he wanted 3 of the air packs, and so he cut the budget? There's no way we can add on for that third?
No.
Okay.
I think if you look
Can
at
you do that
the,
at the town meeting?
no, you can't add any dollar amounts, Joe. We can't increase it, but I would,
What did he want, 3 of?
The air packs, the.
Turnout, no, he wanted turnout gear.
Three
Turnout gear.
turnout
Yeah,
gears.
I believe he covered those out of this year's budget. So he got 2 this year, out of this year's budget, and therefore he only needed 1 next year.
because he's
That's
got,
my understanding.
he's got plenty of money in
And
this
he's
year's
got money in his
Joe.
budget
Budget.
still.
So he wanted 3 next year, he bought 2 this year because he had the money, and
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is appropriate.
And he still has quite a bit of money
Oh, yeah,
left
yeah, yeah.
in his budget this year.
They're okay.
Yeah, they're doing good. Any more discussion? See none? All in favor? 6-0. Article 19,
To see if the town will vote to appropriate $7,000 from the unassigned fund balance to purchase a new telephone system for the fire department.
I'll make a motion to accept Article 19 as written.
Second.
moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Get them the telephone.
What's that?
Get them the telephone.
Get them the telephone.
Yeah.
Those poor guys.
Okay, all in favor? 6-0. See how much faster this is going with Maria doing most of the talking,
Maria,
not Margarita.
Who's Maria? When did she become one?
Maria hasn't been here for a long time. Thank you, Margarita.
you're welcome.
At least I didn't call you Maggie.
No, you did not. Article 20?
Yes, go ahead.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $136,204 for public safety to be expended as follows. Departments 104-01 to 104-40.
I'll make a motion to accept Article 20 as written.
Second.
Any discussion?
Has the deputy service been contracted already for the
No.
upcoming year?
No, that contract runs out in December, and the selectmen at some point are gonna decide whether they're gonna negotiate for a new contract or not. That decision hasn't been made.
But we're appropriating money for it, for the following.
In case they do enter a new contract, the money will be there. If not, I'm very confident that in another year, that money will roll over into the undated fund balance if we don't use it.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
The communications, that's just for the, York County
Yeah,
dispatch?
yeah. I think that's out of Sanford now, Charlie.
Or whatever, yeah.
Used to be out of Gray. But I think Sanford's
Do
doing
they
it all
still
now.
use the control tower up at the Blueberry Farm?
Yeah,
I didn't see any amount in the,
so that's part of that 36,000.
oh, it is?
Yeah.
Part of the communications.
All set? All in favor? 6-0. Article 21.
Tom, can you have Jennifer put a bit of a space in between contract deputy service and select board recommends? Like she has in all the other articles?
You on the right one?
Here it is.
Oh,
There's
excuse
a
me,
space.
the revised one has it. Too many of these things.
Work off the current one.
But I have to compare them because my notes are on that one.
Article 21, to see if the town will vote to pay wages and equipment for repair and maintenance of public ways according to the following schedule, rates by the hour.
I'll make a motion to accept Article 21 as written.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, could,
Or you want Margarita to read all the rates?
no.
Oh, okay.
This is because of your question last week,
Yep.
where it had equipment with operator, and then below that, it has laborer without equipment and a wage. Those two should be flipped. So you have the laborer with no equipment underneath the road commissioner, and then equipment with operator with all those prices underneath it, and that way you eliminate that confusion about how this stuff is priced out.
Yep. And you don't have that space.
It's just in the wrong order.
Yeah.
So are you saying that you'd like to have this up and change the order?
Yeah, again,
Next year.
this is a housekeeping issue. It's-
Yeah.
it's-
Next
Pick
year.
up for next year.
Next year.
I suggest make it up for
Next
next year.
year. No. For next year.
Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed? 4-2. Let's see, Article 22.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $361,863, to appropriate $26,054 from state LRAP funds for the District 1 Road Department. Said funds to be dispersed after a project list, including line item budgeting, has been presented to the Select Board to be expended as follows.
I'll make a motion to accept Article 22 as written.
Any discussion?
Yeah, why was the summer maintenance increased by 20,000?
That's something that they negotiated with the Board of Selectmen, and they said cost of operations was a big part of it.
I think they had a number of specific projects in mind that need, some reasons culverts.
Twofold, Tom, I think. It was the projects and
Yeah.
the cost of doing.
Just increased cost for culverts.
Yeah. And if you notice, the winter maintenance is taken out of there this year.
Yep.
And, I think, I just want to comment, Will, I thought did a great job, giving us the information that we needed, to give an approval of his budget. I think he did a great job, and I appreciate what he did. Any more discussion? All in favor? 6-0.
Dennis, I have a general question.
Go ahead.
We pretty much know if we're going to oppose something before we vote, obviously, right? Is it possible if the person's willing, like you have made comments, why they're opposing it or going to oppose it? Would that be allowed? Because that might make me aware of something I didn't see.
Oh, yeah, they're free to do that, Phil.
That would happen in conversation.
Well, they could do it here tonight, you know, I mean, like me, I said, this is why I voted against it.
Right.
Like the last one, we had two people.
Yeah.
And I was just curious, I wanted to ask why, because
Yeah.
maybe it's too late now, but,
Well, feel free.
okay.
And if they say, no, I'm not gonna answer you, then I don't know what to say.
Oh, well. What else could I say?
Article
23.
23.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $366,863, to appropriate $26,054 from state LRAP funds for the District 2 Road Department. Said funds to be dispersed after a project list, including line item budgeting, has been presented to the Select Board to be expended as follows.
I make a recommendation, we make a motion to accept Article 23 as written.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to ask a question. Is part of this paving and reconstruction funds to finish paving County Road?
Yes.
With the-
That's what the road commissioner said, that he's going to finish what he started. He's gonna put the second coat on, what he has a base coat on, and it's gonna,
A base coat on when he hasn't done it all. Is that right?
well, some, he has a base coat on, just a shim coat or whatever you wanna call it, but he doesn't have the finished coat on. So he's planning on finishing
I
everything
thought
this
it
year.
had- Okay, so it will be finished, complete.
That's what he said. And you can only hope, yeah. So we hope
12, 8.
that's the case.
May I make a comment to
Go ahead.
McGurty? I think that the town should be looking ahead in lieu of all the recent changes of weather in this last rainstorm we saw, to upscale or upgrade its maintenance of culverts and ditches. I mean, you see it everywhere in town, even on my little road.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it should be
I don't
that.
know much about it, but I hear the ditches aren't being properly maintained.
No, they aren't. They have
David
to,
mentioned it the other night. I think he's working with the road agents to address that.
Culverts aren't being cleaned either.
yeah, the
Yeah,
culverts
that's
have
what-
to,
exactly.
yeah. And another thing is that some of the potholes haven't been yet filled. So, well,
People should contact the road agent and tell them, you got a pothole, it needs to be filled. And so they should tend to that, and if they don't, contact the selectmen.
well,
Okay?
I would like to thank Joe
Driveway.
that another year is part of the progress we're gonna be making next year, and maybe the road committee could help with the road commissioners. And what I'd like to see is a maintenance plan for the roads. You know, you do this and this and this. Again,
During their budget process?
no, there should be a maintenance plan that this is what we're gonna do.
there should be a maintenance plan.
For example,
Whatever, yeah.
both road commissioners in last year's budget, put in $4,000 for mowing. One road commissioner used $365. So that would tell me there was no mowing side the roads. Well, that doesn't make any sense. But I'm not the road commissioner. So what I'm saying is, hopefully another year, we'd have some kind of a maintenance plan, so that you're gonna do whatever with the culvert, you're gonna do whatever with the mowing, you're gonna spend X amount doing cut and brush. Some of the roads, they haven't had brush cut on them for 4 or 5 years.
So
And I would think,
you want to have a published preventive maintenance plan?
I would hope that when we get to this road assessment thing, that whatever the selectmen decide to do with this dollar amount, developing some kind of a plan on what we should be doing, hopefully would be part of that process. I'm not telling the selectmen what they need to do, I'm saying that's what I would hope.
But that's the question is, should this be published so that everybody knows what's to be expected of the road commissioners?
Oh, sure,
Okay.
sure, I think everybody ought to know everything.
Oh, yeah, you're not gonna get an argument from me there, but.
And just for everyone's information, the road committee has requested the, road commissioners do a 3, 5, and 10-year plan, and we've asked that a couple of years in a row, and we still don't have it.
But again, I want to say the same thing about Adam, is he did a great job giving us the information we asked for, and I want to thank him for that. Go ahead, Tom.
Question?
Yeah.
Regarding the road committee asking for that, I'm not quite sure how the process works, but since I've been on the board for 14 months or whatever, I have not seen anything from the road committee. So how that request goes to them?
They're on the board, they're on the committee. So, the road commissioners are on the committee.
No, I'm just saying the board of selectmen, I'm not aware of a position like that that's being taken by the road committee. So, I'm not quite sure how that should happen. I don't want to get into a big discussion,
Yeah.
It's the first I've heard that,
Yeah.
so.
That's been,
Whatever it's worth.
yeah, there has been discussion at meetings, that, they've been requested to do it, and,
I guess what I'm saying
yeah.
is if they're not doing it and the committee thinks it should be, you gotta find a way of elevating that to the select.
right, oh, absolutely, and, yeah,
Okay, that's fine.
absolutely,
That's all
yeah.
I'm saying.
And the only other comment I have is like within these Article 22 to 24, and I agree with them having some type of plan that is made public. 'Cause we've got almost $1.2 million being appropriated for all this stuff right here. That's not counting Article 21.
Okay.
So, I mean, with that type of money, there should be a plan that's laid out for the public to see, what the plan is to spend all this money.
This also goes back to that, having an overage every year that just keeps getting
Yeah.
thrown forward, and I'm guessing this is an area that has a lot of that.
Yeah, it does, Phil.
But but they're carried forward. It just goes into their own reserve account, or it just goes back into the,
In the past, it's gone into next year's budget. So if you had $60,000 as left over in the paving, they're asking for $250, then next year they'd have $310 to spend. And that's not gonna happen this year. And so what's gonna happen is, when they ask the town for money, either they spend it on what they asked for it, or at the end of the year, it's gonna go in the undesignated fund balance.
okay. But the one thing that I had a comment on at some point was, it would be nice in these articles if people actually knew, and it's not gonna get done right here, but people should know if they're voting on this, what sort of paving and road construction is gonna be made, which roads,
Right.
so that when they're voting on this, they know whether or not they've got skin in the game.
Yep, I agree.
Because this is very nebulous.
Yep.
And I think that type of information, Charlie, is presented at the selectmen's meeting when they talk about
The budget.
the budget.
No, and with this, we had information presented to us by the road commissioners that outlined that in a little bit more granularity than what it is here. But this is what the town is voting on, this, and it would be nice if people could actually see, because I'm sure, when you look at the stats on the videos, if 60 or 70 people watch those videos, that's a high number.
Right.
Right.
So, and we've got a voting population of what, a little over 2,000 in town?
About 2,500?
How many actually vote?
Well,
Voters, I think, is
eligible
about-
voters. Right. So,
Is about 2,100, 20,
so I
yeah.
think it would be nice if people
2,400.
actually knew, and it wouldn't take but a line for each one of these. You could mark out, it's gonna be work on this, paving on this road, and this road. Done.
You know-
This goes back to the maintenance plan that should be publicized. That
Yeah, the
we can't-
transparency of it,
That we
yep.
can't get,
Correct.
because that's exactly where you would see it.
Correct.
But
You know-
we can't get it.
if I can say, to move this along, I think, I agree with everybody, and it's a great idea. And I think what we could do, and I'm not suggesting we have another meeting, but everybody send Dennis, and copy Tom, because he's our liaison, the ideas for this, that they could be as sort of a wrap-up. We feel if we had information A, B, C, D, E, F, G, we could have moved along, it would have been clearer for everybody, so that they have it for next year. Because we're not going to change anything this year. But I think all these ideas are so good that we should make note of them and send them forward for next year. Doesn't mean anything will happen because of it, but we've done due diligence. Because we can't change it this year, guys.
Move the question.
23.
All in favor?
What do we vote on?
Article 23,
Okay.
6-0. Article 24,
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $409,747 for the District 1 and District 2 winter maintenance and sand salt stockpile.
I'll make a motion to accept Article 24 as written.
Second.
Dennis, didn't you bring up an issue about a sand salt stockpile being in this?
the amount of money we spent, you mean, Phil?
I'm trying to remember what you brought up last meeting.
There's quite a fund balance in the sand salt account. And what they've done, I'm pretty sure this is what Will said this year, and I'm very sure he said this last year. At the end of the year, they bought more salt to get a good start for next year. And by doing that, obviously we're all done. there's $42,391 still left in that account. Traditionally, there's always been quite a bit of money left in that account. But,
So is that available, 156 plus the 42? Did you have $200,000 available?
no, because that doesn't roll over, Joe.
It doesn't roll over?
No, so they're gonna start all over again with,
That money goes into unfunded,
yeah,
okay.
gonna start over again with,
Dennis, where you, oh,
So then, last year, it was appropriated for the sand salt stockpile of 136,000. And we have all this excess already in-house, already on site, and we're increasing it by 20,000. What, and change?
I believe that the answer that Will gave at one of the selectmen meeting was they had changed, companies of where they had purchased sand and salt.
Right.
They had gone back to, there may have been an issue with the one they went to, and they went back to the other one, and the price was what it was.
Right, but Dennis just said that we have a bunch of excess sand and salt already purchased, so we're starting out ahead of the game. Why are we actually asking for,
the same money, Charlie.
well, no, you're asking for 20K more.
No, if you look at, the thing under stockpile, on our newest expense thing, it's 156,125, and they spent 113,733.
Well, last year's budget was 136,000, according to this expense summary. That's what was budgeted for materials.
Well, that's what I'm looking at,
and
Charlie.
they spent 108,700.
What's that?
Right here, they spent 108,
They spent $108,761 and change.
so where are you looking?
156. They spent 113. Got 42 left.
Are you on page
And they
6?
spent 72.85%.
Page 6.
Okay.
Okay,
and
you're looking at the total, I'm looking just at materials.
Oh, no, I'm not looking at that.
Materials.
I'm looking at the
Okay.
total budget.
Yeah. He's looking at the whole budget.
Oh,
I'm looking at the total budget,
but
Charlie.
that includes all the salaries and stuff,
Yeah.
benefits.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
If you look at
we just-
materials.
So you're doing, okay, all right, no worries.
okay. So the number's exactly the same as it was last year,
All right, yep,
156,125.
that's fine.
And then the selectmen, I believe, was it 30,000? They added into the winter maintenance. Yeah.
Yeah, 15 each.
For, no, I
No,
think it was 30
30,000.
each.
30 each, that's
Yeah.
right.
And, because last year was 97,000 or something like
Right.
that. And then that's why they moved the sand salt into that account, so that if they overspent again, we wouldn't have to have a special town meeting. And the cost is really the same, so,
We only have 2 sources. We only had 2 sources this year for salt.
any more discussion? All in favor of Article 24? 6-0. Article 25.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $21,038 for the Public Works Building/grounds.
Make a motion to accept Article 25 as written.
Second.
So moved and seconded, any discussion?
Yeah, can we get some clarification of Public Works buildings?
It's the storage shed, Joe.
Down at the sand?
Yes,
Is
down
it
at the sand
Big
shed,
building or little building?
the little building. If it was a sand shed, I assume it'd be listed there. I can't imagine they need any maintenance to that.
What are they spending 21,000 on? Is that-
Adam gave us that breakdown. If you remember, he wanted to pressure wash, do some painting. He said there was some trees he wanted to remove, and he wanted to put electricity in the storage building. That might not be everything, but that's all I got on top of my
They
mind.
have given us that information
Yeah,
already.
they gave us a printout. Myself personally, I don't see any reason to put electricity in that storage building. They get electricity in the sand shed, which they can utilize if they need electricity for something. I think the price was around $7,000 or something.
Yeah, that's what you said last week.
And I don't agree with it, but that's me. Anybody else? All in favor of Article 25? All opposed? 0 to 6. Article 26.
To see if the town will vote to establish a reserve account called Peck Road Reserve Account and appropriate $130,500 to reconstruct and pave the portion of Peck Road from Milton Mills Road to the dirt. Any funds remaining in this account after the completion of the repair, no later than June 30th, 2025, shall be returned to the unassigned fund balance.
I make a motion to approve Article 26 as written.
Second.
Tom gave us the answer on that, and I also spoke with Adam, after the Selectmen's meeting last Wednesday. And this money that he wants for the Peck Road is strictly for paving. And getting the road ready, hopefully he'll be able to get it out of what he's got for money this year. If not, he'll
So
be able
the
to.
specs are to either grind or remove what's there, re-gravel it.
You want it?
And then repave it.
Yeah, this is strictly for paving, he said, the $130,500.
So what about the preparation and the gravel?
That's all out of either this year's summer maintenance
Oh, summer maintenance.
or the beginning
But
of
this
next
is an
year.
unexpected situation, was it not?
No, because they knew they wanted to do the road, and they knew that the road was in poor
It
condition.
was
Yeah, but I
neglected.
think it was an unexpected situation, because he had to take in some larger machinery in there that wasn't, that he
Didn't
knew was
quite
gonna
fit,
tear up
did
that
it?
road.
Yeah. It didn't
So-
quite fit, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So that machinery kind of tore up that road.
So this is probably a good example of, over the years, poor planning and maintenance, neglect.
And my issue is this, that this is, money will sit there possibly until 2025. So if the road is in that poor condition, why isn't it being done?
I will say that, I asked Adam that, and he said that he fully intends, to get it done this year. It's gonna be on the schedule once he gets, paving bid in. And his intention is to complete it this year. And,
I read that as giving him a deadline to get it done by that date.
no, you're right, but
Right.
he said that,
He said he was gonna do it this year.
he's gonna do it this
Right,
year anyway.
right.
So he didn't understand the 2-year thing, because we've never done that before.
So that wasn't him putting that deadline in, that was
No, in
the
fact,
selectman
I
who
think it
wrote
was-
the article?
It was our other selectman.
So his intention is to do it this year, so
Right.
that's a great thing. All in favor?
Question.
Oh, go ahead, Charlie.
I mentioned this last time, and it was sort of skirted around on this answer. What is to the dirt? What's the distance?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you
Right.
gotta go and
We did
send out
ask
a
that.
request for a cost from a
Right.
paving company,
Yeah.
they're gonna wanna know how many feet.
Yep, that's 100% right.
And this
So-
wasn't answered in this.
It's not answered.
The article, yeah, the answer did not answer the question that was asked. It was, what is the exact mileage? They did not give the mileage.
Yeah, I mean, because this is
It's not
just,
even mentioned, actually.
No.
this doesn't really tell anybody anything. To the dirt means nothing.
Whose dirt? Where is the dirt? You know?
Okay,
I
guys,
vote on that.
maybe we can ask that at town meeting.
Well, I think we go by what we had just finished at our last meeting. If the question wasn't answered, the specific question wasn't answered, then we wouldn't recommend it.
Yep. That's
Not
fine.
that you wouldn't recommend it, that you would just vote based on the information you have.
Right, as it's written.
Correct.
that's how
It
the
doesn't mean you
vote
have
is
to
gonna
vote
go.
no. You could still vote yes for it if you're fine with how it's written, or if it's just, you vote with what you have.
Correct.
And we asked the question, it was not answered.
Right, so now we just vote with what we got here.
If the maintenance or the upgrade or repair, et cetera, use your adjective of choice, if it's necessary, then do it. But let's be specific in what we're asking.
Going forward, yeah.
Okey-doke. All in favor of this article, please raise your right hand. All opposed? 6-0.
06.
06.
06, thank you, Margarita.
That's the way it's written.
Article 28.
27.
Oh,
He's trying.
I already
trying.
approved 27.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $398,015 for the wages and operation of the transfer station.
I'll make a motion to approve Article 27 as written.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 6-0. I wrote it right the first time. Article 28.
To see if the town will vote to appropriate up to $60,000 from the unassigned fund balance to hire an engineer to assess the transfer station for future land and building improvements.
I make a motion to accept Article 28 as written.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, the only discussion I have is the package that was online for the scope of the project. It's extremely narrow. As far as the boundaries of it, it's pretty much just the active paved surface plus a little bit. And I know that's not what Robin had expressed to me, that he wanted to have a separate entrance, and I don't see how he's gonna fit a separate entrance in with the way that that area is mapped out as the project area, and that's all the design firm is gonna look at. You know,
Tom?
to me, if you're gonna actually pay this engineering firm $60K or some fraction thereof, then you should assess the entire property and figure out we'll let them figure out what's the best way to fit in everything that you want.
Yeah, for a period of 10 or 15 years.
Go ahead, Tom.
I'm not sure what the document is you're referring to. Maybe I should know, but that project does have a wider scope, from my understanding. So if you think we ought to do an assessment of the transfer station, then I think it's a good article. If you're concerned about the scope of the project, I suggest you just bring that up at a selectmen meeting and raise your points and see if it's currently stated this way and you think it ought to be that way, then consider changing that. There's
Tom,
nothing in this article that defines that scope.
Yeah, Tom, the letter from Sebago has a picture with where they're going to assess, and even the recycle building is not contained within what they're going to be.
Disconnect someplace, I'm sorry, because I know when we've talked about it, it's been broader, so
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
make sure to bring that up.
And the other thing that was mentioned was traffic flow on H Road leading in and out of there. That's not in the scope
I know it's
area.
part of the scope, Charlie, so why it's not in that document, I don't know. That's not a contract yet.
Not yet.
Right.
Not a
But
contract. But we'll make it.
Make it a
I'll make
contract.
sure, I'll raise the issue, I can't make sure. I'll raise the issue and make sure it gets addressed one way or the other. Okay?
Anybody else?
And the scope of work has to be very specific, and the proposal has to answer all of the points of it to do it right. It doesn't matter now, because
No,
it's done, but
I mean, all you're doing is appropriating money, but, you know, I'd suggest you come to a selectman meeting and raise those points, and let them respond.
Well, my opinion is, I'm not against appropriating this money, but I think myself that watching the capital improvement meetings, committee meetings, I think this is a capital improvement issue, and I think that there should be public input on what we do up there with our property, and it's kind of like Joe was alluding to, if we can make changes, permanent changes, that would help us out for the next 20, 25 years, I'd be all for that. There hasn't been conversation. The conversation has been, what are we gonna do to make it better for this area here?
Yeah, so why don't
The
we,
conversation hasn't been, we have X amount of acres, and what can we do with this property, to make an improvement so it's better suits all the town?
And take into consideration the growth of the town.
And Robin made a comment at the last selectmen's meeting, that he had talked to DEP, and I think I'm right here, Tom, that what we had to cover, there's nothing saying we can't put more cover on it and utilize, whether it's the old dump, you know, whether we could fill over that and utilize the property. I think there's an awful lot of conversation that we can have. This is what the DEP said to Robin.
Well, I'm letting you know what DEP said to me in a lengthy discussion several times. And there's actually, I submitted some documents to Jennifer for her to forward on to all the agencies here in the town, is that you can put on a solar farm there, and that's pretty much about it.
Yeah.
You can't build any roads on top of it, you can't have any buildings. Matter of fact, you can't do anything within 100 feet of that landfill area.
And this is my whole point, I guess, Charlie, you're making my point for me, is that because there is gonna be a meeting, scheduled at some point with the DEP, they said at the last, gonna come down and meet with Robin and the Board of Selectmen. And I guess this is my whole point. There's a lot of issues or concerns or questions that haven't been addressed. And I would support this if we could get a thing from the selectmen to not do this until, so we can do an assessment of the whole property and see what's in the best interest of the
Can I
town.
say something?
I think we get in the cart before the horse here.
I think this discussion is the cart before the horse. We have no idea what is going to be asked of Sebago. All these things that we want to have Sebago ask, we've got to take them to the select board. I mean, you know, 3 of us here, 4 of us, go to the selectmen's meeting every single week. I mean, it's like going to confession in my house. You gotta go to that meeting. You can't, if you wanna know what's going on, you go on. Go to the meeting, ask these questions. It has to be written into the contract with Sebago. We have to have the feeling that the selectmen are gonna do due diligence and put these questions in the contract. So they're gonna come back to us. Frankly, if they come back to us with something that doesn't fit what we ask, they're putting their whole contract with us in jeopardy. Because I don't think anybody on the select board is gonna go to somebody who gives us poppycock when we've asked for this, and this, and they're gonna give us, well, you know, that. That's not gonna help them at all.
that's not the way that I read the question.
But the question is, do we want to have an assessment done? Do we want to give the 60 grand.
That's the question.
Do we want to have it done?
$60,000 to have an assessment.
Right.
That's it, that's the question. Everything else is good and pertinent, but it's at the wrong meeting.
That's it.
The only thing that, and right now, the only thing we have to go on is the, proposal that is on the website,
It's
which,
a draft.
okay.
It's not the contracted scope.
Well, no, I understand that, but this is their proposal. I mean, it's, they've even given, given you a quote for it. So these are the only things that we have to go on, which I don't think encompasses everything that should be taken into consideration in this project.
Vote it up again.
Exactly.
Yeah, it comes down to what does the word assess
You don't like
mean?
the proposal, then vote it down.
Tom, in due respect to you and the select board, there are a lot of talented people in this town, like the lady that, from Square Pond that came and gave her opinion on the town hall assessment.
Civil engineer, yeah.
The civil engineer. Tom Rosso's just retired, he's a civil engineer. Dave Langley, Gary Rideout, at times we sat up, we talked to Robin, we would say, what if you did this and that? If we were to have some sort of a sit-down, right here in this room here, and just throw out a whole bunch of ideas, what we, as taxpayers, or whatever, considered important in it, rather than just going out and hiring something. The $60,000 is, you know, it's a lot of money. I mean, to us, it's a lot of money to pay somebody to tell us how to plan something that we have basically right here in the town, the ability in the town. It's just getting all these people together and writing it out.
Can we call the question?
Maybe
What is the motion on the floor? What is the motion on the floor?
To accept.
If we accept the article as written.
Yeah,
Okay, all this discussion of what we would like, what we wouldn't like, and all that has, you know,
Nothing to
that's
do with the
something-
article.
Yeah, but
Right.
it brings to light.
I understand that,
This
but
is
we're
what you gotta do. You
voting
gotta
on the
bring the
article
light.
itself.
Do we want to put money there so that we can then talk about it later?
Yeah.
About what we want to,
But
what
it
we
might
want to
not
do with
get
that?
talked later, it might be just,
Okay.
all right?
Okay, well, this, I'm gonna throw a wrench in the works, like I always do. The reason why I like specific language is because I would like to avoid seeing another article like what we had a year or two ago, where we appropriated money for the quote-unquote assessment, which a lot of us thought was gonna be a structural assessment of the
Right.
town hall. And what we got was just an opinionated, subjective, functional assessment. There was nothing definitive in that, really. And that, to me, that was, yes, it did open the discussion, I agree with you 100% there. But it wasn't a good use of $10,000 or whatever the cost was.
We actually still don't have the final on that. That was a draft.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, it just,
But technically, this is specific. Do we want to hire an engineer? Do we want to put money to hire an engineer to assess the transfer station? That's it.
and the
For
assessment.
future
future use,
land
that
and
is-
building improvement.
that
Tell
is
us what we can
specific as
do
of
with
right
this
now.
plan.
as long as it's defined that the scope includes the entire parcel, not just the narrow aperture that's in that.
I cannot confirm that at this time.
No, and I understand
I can only
that.
say that that's what I would like to do, okay?
Right, no, and I understand that, and I appreciate
You
it.
gotta live with what you got.
No, that's a good idea, Tom, but
But
You-
the
you have a
article
good idea.
doesn't say, but the article does not say a narrow piece. The article says the transfer station.
Yeah.
So that is actually very specific.
Could I have a vote, please?
Yes.
What?
Yes, you would, let's vote.
All in favor? I tied with you that time, Ray. All's opposed?
33.
Have to bow out again, Dennis.
Fails.
0,
No.
No, 33.
3
Two.
fails.
2.
3.
Who voted,
One.
who voted for it?
I voted for it.
I voted for
I
You
abstained,
you voted for it, I thought you were,
and
okay.
I'm abstaining.
So it's
Yes,
2, 3, 1?
2, 3,
So
1.
2, 3, 1?
Yeah. Margarita, it's all on you.
29, to see if the town will vote to appropriate up to $10,000 from the unassigned fund balance for the purchase of 2 storage containers to be used at the transfer station.
I make a motion to accept Article 29 as written.
Second. Oh, let Ray do it.
Okay.
And again, Robin said that was them setting in place.
Well, no,
No.
but that's not what the article says. The article is
That's
just the purchase.
Right.
It's not the placement, it's not for a pad.
You need a
There's no
cement
mention
pad.
of any support underneath this, other than putting a couple metal containers on dirt, basically.
He said it was.
That's where they are now.
He said the $10,000 was for everything.
No.
That's not what it says.
Just delivery.
The answer is for the
This
size of the
says
container.
Purchase of 2 containers.
Right.
That's it.
And this
Quoted
here
price
is,
includes delivery, that's it.
It's for the purchase and delivery.
that's
There
it.
is no expectation about any kind of pad being put down.
Cement pad, and then they're gonna build a roof over it at some point.
Okay.
And this is where you have to look at something like that and go, okay, why would I allocate money to something I can't use when it gets there, possibly? Because
And the other thing is this,
So you
this
do have to
conflicts.
look,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yep, you do have to look beyond the wording, even though you're looking at the wording to vote on, you still say, if it were my money, would I purchase 2 containers and have them delivered? And when they got there, I couldn't use them because there's parts missing. So that's how I look at something like this.
We've had this problem before when we bought the generator. The article, I believe, read purchase and installation. However, when push came to shove, it was purchase and delivery, and then we had to have a
Yeah, there was
special
no
town meeting for the installation because there wasn't enough money to have it installed. So, we have had this problem before.
I stand corrected. What I said wasn't true.
Oh, God.
I don't know what else to say.
We knew that, Dennis.
Yeah, but is there any money for the cement pad?
No, there's
No.
nothing there.
No.
This is
I
it.
believe the current ones have a cement pad.
No, they're just some,
No,
the
but it'd
one
be-
trailer is sitting on
They're
dirt.
gonna do it very similar to the way the current ones are done.
Now, but this should be coordinated with the previous article, 2 articles back,
Is,
whatever it is, for the,
Over a period of
1
time
article
it will
back, or
rust.
2 articles back.
They can lift them up and put a cement pad down if they need to.
yeah,
That-
no, I realize that,
Later.
but it'd be a lot simpler to have the cement pad in place and then back it in, put there and,
Right, and that pad should be coordinated with the
With-
design project, and it's not.
No.
But, and that's because it's not intended. There's no intention to have that at this point.
No, that's right.
Right, so you're gonna buy these, you're gonna possibly do a design, and it doesn't include these. The design isn't gonna include them, and then what are you gonna do with them?
Other ones
Well,
don't have-
you're gonna save money with
We
them.
come back and appropriate another,
That-
maybe we should change this to
that's a-
20,000, so we
that-
can put cement pads underneath it.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I'm all set with it, just how it is.
yeah, well, you know, according,
Wonderful, then I think it would fly.
We should clarify.
Could I have a vote, please?
All right,
All in favor? Please raise your right hand. Those opposed? Please raise your right hand. 606.
06. Got it.
Thank you, Margarita. I don't think I'll ever, doesn't matter. Article 30,
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $1,210 for planning and development to be expended as a forester's stipend.
have a motion, please.
I make a motion to accept Article 30 as written.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 6-0. Article 31,
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, $3,000 for the cemetery committee for maintenance, placement of flags, markers, and repair of veterans' graves.
I make a motion to accept Article 31 as written.
Second.
any discussion?
we need a second.
Yeah, they did.
Who?
Who second?
It was
Ray
Ray.
did.
Ray did?
Yeah.
Sorry.
All in favor? 6-0.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
point of order, back on the, and if you've already taken the vote, it can't be reconsidered. I left some information out that I should tell you. There are safety issues with those current containers. I don't know if you've been there, but there's one that is elevated, that has steps that are rotten. There's another one, when you go inside, the floors are rotten. So, you know, postponing this for another year could be an issue. I should have mentioned that earlier.
And the rotting floor is part of the issue of why there should be some type of a plan to either set it on something or.
So they were wood floors.
Yeah.
This is, the new ones are steel.
Now, those containers have wood floors.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
I thought they
yes.
were all steel.
No.
It's ribbed under the bottom, and it's just a composite wood flooring. Gets screwed down.
Discussion for town meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom, we really should have something in the budget or something definitive on the cement
What if we
pad.
rescind the motion?
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
All right, it's,
I mean, if you change this to where included cement pads for their placement, I think that would be wonderful. It would preserve the investment of $10,000.
Yeah, this time, it's too late, so.
you know,
32.
see, that's part of the problem.
But whose fault is
It's too
it?
late.
Anyway.
The way these are written,
Dennis, are you good for 32?
it's awful.
Yes, we were 6-0.
Yep.
Now
Article
33. Oh, we didn't?
No, we haven't done
We
that.
didn't do 30.
I'm
Yeah,
going, I'm jumping ahead
This is
again.
voting for all of us, apparently.
Go from all at once.
Amen. Article 32, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $10,000 to be placed in the cemetery capital account.
I make a motion to accept Article 32 as written.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, same discussion that I had, points that I had made last week and probably prior to that. The cemetery committee presented us, although they weren't here in person, they presented us with, you know, a list of cemeteries where there were trees, which is what supposedly this money was going to be used for the tree removal. But my point is that the majority of these, if not all, of the cemeteries in town are private property. And therefore municipal funds should not be used for the maintenance. And statute, I provided you guys copies of the statutes. It covers mowing and picking up downed branches. It does not cover or permit removal of trees in those cemeteries that the town should happen to find itself doing maintenance on. Yeah, I'm all for maintaining the cemeteries. I think it's important. It says a lot about.
And the answer on that article is strictly for tree removal.
Well, you mean in 32? It doesn't say anything about tree removal, but the stuff that they had sent us.
No,
No,
their
the answer.
response.
Answer that we had
response to
received,
that
right,
was-
yeah.
The response did.
And that's not permitted by statute.
How about the 1880 part of that statute, Charlie?
No,
Anything prior to
there's nothing in
1880?
there about tree removal.
Okay.
In that statute, it says that you can pick up down branches. That's about it. Mowing, maintain the flags.
I would ask that we vote in the affirmative on this warrant article, this is my opinion. And let that issue be settled between the Board of Selectmen and the Cemetery Committee.
I agree with
Yeah,
Dennis.
I
agree.
I have a really hard time voting no on this because it comes back to, you know, basically a moral obligation we have to our ancestors.
These are private cemeteries.
And I understand what you're saying, Charlie, and, you know, and I'm struggling with that dilemma as to, you know, you follow the law or you know, you do what's morally right.
So then the other option the town has is to acquire the cemeteries and make them public.
And that's not gonna ever happen.
No, but in that way you can expend municipal funds. But this is private property. there is no public benefit other than aesthetics and it feels good to look at them.
Yeah, like I said, for me, this is more of a moral and a respect issue, that conflicts with what the law says.
But that's why the
That's my
law
feeling
made
on it.
carve-outs for that purpose. And we're exceeding that carve-out.
I don't have a good answer to that.
You vote how you feel, there you go.
Yeah,
I just can't go against statute.
right. All in favor? Please raise your right hand. 4-2.
4-2.
You voted no, right?
Correct.
Bill?
No.
Yeah. You're pushing me, Ray.
So what were you questioning? What were you questioning?
Well, just the statement that Charlie made was, I mean, he can't go against statute, so I don't see where it's for.
Well, you can. If you vote for it too, you can.
Yeah, but you didn't vote for it.
No, we voted for the 2.
There you go.
You can't vote to violate a law.
Yeah,
What we just did.
There you go.
You just did,
we just did.
Moving on, Article 33.
Kind of if you're in Congress.
which basically nullifies it.
To
Right.
see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $93,811 for the following agencies.
Thank you, Marguerite.
I make a motion to accept Article 33 as written.
The second,
Second.
any discussion? All in
That's a
favor?
lot of money.
Oh. What's that?
That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
I mean, the top 3, it's.
Those are the same numbers every other year.
All of it is a lot of money, 93,000. These are,
Right, a lot of that,
and I understand that they do a lot of stuff for the lakes and all that, and the property owners on the lakes and stuff like that. I get it. But
Ray, what would happen to our tax base if, we let our lakes go to hell? Property values would go down, and we'd all be paying more in taxes.
we're overtaxed as it is.
Well, I'm not saying we're not.
So,
I think it would be worse if we didn't support that.
I mean, this does look quite a bit more onerous than what it has in prior years, because in prior years, they were all separate articles. So it does
Now
look
it's
like
all
a
or
lot of
nothing.
money.
It's all or
Yeah.
nothing. But there's
it's money we've
there's a
been
lot
doing
of
every
very-
year.
well, it isn't really all or nothing, Phil.
Sure.
It's really not all or nothing, because the town meeting, you can amend
Right, I mean,
these
we're doing
dollar
it tonight,
amounts
though. It's
within
in
it.
one article.
Yes.
Correct. And these numbers, I believe, are very similar to what they've been asking for year after year, so.
Yeah.
Except for the Acton Wakefield Watershed Alliance.
Right.
I think last year's theirs was 11.
They're in a world of hurt because Wakefield, New Hampshire returned their budget down and they're getting nothing from Wakefield.
From Wakefield.
so if we give them the money, they're still gonna be helping out Wakefield, right? That's my point,
Well, it's-
that's another state.
Well, but it's Great East
But
Lake.
it's gonna also
Great
help
East
us.
Lake
It's
which
Great
is
East
helping
Lake,
us.
then.
And the
They're
lake
on
quality
Horn Pond
affects the
and,
entire town. It affects the whole ecosystem.
yeah.
But this
not just
dollar
the people who
amount.
live on the lake.
This dollar amount was requested before Wakefield voted their budget down.
There you go.
Is there a benefit to the people of Acton?
Yes.
Yes. There's a
Except
great,
for,
yes.
I believe we had the discussion of how does the Saco River corridor benefit the people of Acton? Directly, benefit the people of Acton.
It does affect the
Because the
people of Acton.
tributaries of Balch Lake, when you go across Balch Lake, it's part of the tributaries, it filters into, through Shapley Newfield, and eventually gets down to Saco. Well, it's all tied in together. What we're doing in all these little things, except maybe, I don't know, we've never heard from the Red Cross, is we're investing money in humanity, in human service needs
Correct.
and stuff like that. And
Take it to vote.
and
Just because it starts somewhere else doesn't mean it doesn't affect us in the end.
If Great East and the lakes go, so doesn't Acton. Or, I mean, it's like, it's like the nursing lady that came from nursing, they really comprehensive description, which I never even knew about. It was interesting to find out.
All in favor? Opposed? 5-1. Article 34,
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $12,350 for dam expenditures.
have a motion, please.
Make a motion to accept Article 34 as written.
Second.
Can we have some clarification as to what the maintenance is, on the, dam,
Which dam, Joe?
the dam, Mouse and Watershed Dam?
Yeah, we had that, Joe.
We did.
Yeah, there was like mowing the grass and,
Well, didn't we go through that last year, though?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And it's less money this year than it was last year.
now, the operator, the stipend is that all he goes and raises the level?
That's ball site.
Yeah, I know, but is that all he does, or does he maintain, does he mow lawns, or you don't know, or nobody knows?
There's no lawn there, is there?
Well, I'm just saying.
All I know is that we own that dam with Newfield. So we're responsible for half the expense. That's all I can tell you, Joe.
Does Newfield pay the same amount in the stipend?
I'm sure it's split 50/50. That's what I've always been told in the past. I have no reason not to believe it won't be the same this year. I would assume the person that used to do it isn't doing it anymore. Because for many years it was $200, so. Probably
Yeah,
like
well-
me, retired.
Yeah, it's like the dog
I think he
catcher.
died.
Could I have a vote, please? All in favor? 6-0.
Article 35. You good for me to go on that one, Dennis?
Yeah.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $21,087 and appropriate an additional $27,000 from fiscal year '23 franchise fee revenues for the wages and operational expenses of the Acton Public Access TV and to carry over any unused funds to the APAT Capital Equipment Fund.
I make a motion to accept Article 35 as written.
Any discussion?
Just one observation. I've gone through and watched a few older meetings, and the meetings, they don't flow. It kind of like stutters almost, the discussion will happen, it'll stop.
All right, send this
Discussion will
letter.
happen and it'll stop.
All right,
I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know if someone
send
can.
an email to the selectmen.
Okay.
Kara might.
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Tom, do we know that that is the amount of the franchise fee this year?
Just like this year, it came in less than expected, so.
Right.
If it does, we may have to come back and,
That's what I was wondering.
some change, but for right now, it's our estimate.
Okay.
If you notice the, email, the information that Jen sent us,
Right, yeah.
the history, it has gone down a lot.
It's gone down
Over the years.
every year.
So it's hard to estimate. All in favor? 6-0.
Article 36, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $43,165 and appropriate $3,100 from revenues received for operation of the Recreation Department and to carry forward any unexpended funds and excess revenue into the Recreation Capital Improvement Fund.
Make a motion to accept Article 36 as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a question, Tom. I don't know if you can answer this or not. Revenues received, is that concession?
That's concession, and it's uniforms.
All right. Will there be any financials for that, so we know how much money we're making from concessions?
I'm sure, I I know we do,
Oh, okay.
yeah, but I don't know what it is.
Oh, no, I'm not asking you to give me a figure, I'm just,
Treasurer works with the rec director and maintains an accounting and internal
Okay.
control. They have a petty cash fund, it's all that.
okay,
I've
okay.
seen it in something, I don't remember
I don't
where.
think we get revenues from uniforms though, Dennis.
What's that?
I don't think we get revenues from uniforms.
Yes.
We do?
If I was gonna join the rec, then that is a fee for $20 or $30, whatever it is, and that is supposed to cover the cost of the uniform.
Does it?
Yeah,
We spend an awful lot of money on uniforms.
yeah, it does. Well, we have a lot of kids.
I don't know.
Well, if they're paying for their uniforms, then it should wash.
It should.
That's part of your revenues.
That's why they're appropriating the revenues to
Yeah.
pay for the expenses.
Okay.
Okay.
Did this include that playground set? and
No,
stuff?
next
Oh,
article,
that's the next one.
No,
next article.
Okay.
I will say with this budget, they get about 30% or so they still got left in their budget. The last thing for the year is baseball, which is already up and going. So I assume they wouldn't have much more for expenses. And if it's brought down to 20% left in their budget at the end of the year, they're asking for a 10% increase in their budget, approximately. This is just another example of hopefully this coming year, that'll all be balanced out. And this is why we keep having all this, for lack of better words, extra money at the end of the year. So hopefully next year the budget will be, which I'm sure it will be, laid out a little better.
$6,000.
All in favor of Article 36? Please raise your right hand. 6-0. Article 37.
To see if the town will vote to appropriate $40,000 from the unassigned fund balance to purchase a shed and playground equipment for the recreation field.
I make a motion to accept Article 37 as written.
Second.
Seconded by Ray.
Ray?
Yep. Any discussion?
Yeah, do we have a plan?
There is conversations that they're gonna talk to the engineer to design a plan.
All right, because, I
Do
mean,
they have any money for the engineer?
They gave a response to 37 on the question.
Was the parking lot that we hired, was that, any of the money from that going into engineering
So
this?
this is specifically for a shed and playground, but,
But not knowing where to put it though, we don't know where to
I
put
don't know
it.
how big the playground area will be,
Okay.
or how much room there is for a shed.
Okay.
So the engineering study will settle all of that.
Horse again.
This, we may find this is enough money, may find we need more, if we need more, we'll be back and ask for additional.
Is that money already in place for the
For the engineer?
whole site?
Things.
For the engineering study?
Yeah,
Yes.
On the
It's
parking
coming
lot?
out of the parking lot,
okay, the parking lot, okay,
yeah, but it's gonna be doing the whole site.
so the whole site, and then, so the $40,000 we initially appropriated was to do the parking lot. And then, is
Which
that,
needs to be engineered.
so you're gonna shift that to?
No. No.
The parking lot needs to be engineered.
Yeah.
But while we're doing the engineering for the lot, it makes sense to ask them to.
No, I realize that, but I'm just
Okay.
wondering where's the money going, you know, I mean, are you
Where's
putting,
the money coming from for the
Yeah,
engineer?
yeah.
From the parking lot account.
how much is
Okay,
it?
so it-
Appropriated previously for the parking lot.
Over
much
2
is-
different years, there was like.
yeah, but one was to
21,000,
do the parking lot,
20,000.
and now we're taking that money and engineering the
It
parking
is
lot.
very common in capital projects
Yeah.
to budget for engineering along with the construction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, a matter of fact, it's the way it should be done.
Yeah.
So, There's nothing unusual about it.
No, but I mean, initially, it was just appropriated to do the parking lot.
That's right, 'cause
Right.
no one-
It was no engineering, it was just,
Yeah, they're just gonna do a lot.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Exactly.
all right.
How much money is in that parking lot fund?
I honestly.
It was 41, I think,
41,000.
was,
I can look it up.
no, I'm pretty sure.
Several years.
Yeah, over 2 years. that's
Yeah,
right.
but it's in here.
Yeah,
I think it's 41,000.
Yeah, it was 20,000 and 21,000. There were two different
right.
years.
Oh, there it is, okay, I see it now, all right.
I think the question is, are you okay with having a playground, equipment, and a shed at that location? And if so, then this is the money to do that.
We don't even know how much big of the parking lot we want yet, though, do we?
No, but this is separate.
That parking lot has been discussed now for a number of years, and we've got safety issues, so we need to get it going. So I think we're just trying to get we're trying to get money out there, and if we don't need it all, we'll return it. My guess is we'll need some more money.
This article is purely for the purchase,
Just, yeah.
Correct.
nothing else.
We want to give money for a shed and a playground.
Yeah, but you don't know where it's going. You don't know.
Cart
So we're
before the
gonna figure that
horse.
out. So do we want to give them money to be able to do that?
Once it-
So, all right, is it gonna be purchased this year? If it's gonna be purchased this year, where is it gonna go if
We don't know.
if we have it to be engineered?
Look,
We don't know.
it's appropriating money to buy it after we've done the engineering and after we've done some procurement on the shed and the playground to know how much it's going to cost. And we may find that this is enough money. It may not be enough. We may
So
be able to do the parking, I mean, the playground and not the shed, whatever. We'll figure that out.
So if we, don't do it by the end of next fiscal year, does it roll over to the unassigned fund?
I believe we could take that up for next year and roll it over.
Or does it, so the way this is written, it's gonna, if it's not expended through that fiscal year, it's gonna go back to the unassigned fund.
It doesn't say
Is
it's
that
gonna be a.
correct?
Well, that's the intent for next year, but we're not there yet.
But no, I understand that,
Right.
but if we don't, if we end up not buying it by
Right.
the end of the year, then
Right.
it will it'll go back into the unassigned fund.
Next June, if we haven't spent the money and we want to carry it forward, you may find an article, a warrant to carry it forward.
Okay.
They get the vote.
Myself, I'm against this for the simple reason, a year ago, we appropriated money for one project. I would much rather see one project done before we make plans for another project. We asked the rec department for what they wanted for a playground and where they want, not so much where the, part of it was where you're gonna put it. And what size shed they wanted and what it was gonna be made out of. Margarita, at that meeting, was gonna work with, the rec director. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm against giving more money until what we have already given money for is completed.
It would have been nice if this is my opinion, it would have been nice if this was worded so that you were taking it out of unassigned funds and you were putting it into a reserve account. Then it would solve the issue of
When?
the when. And it would take the bite out of any tax change, midway through the year or next year or whatever. The money would just be sitting there for this purpose.
Charlie, if we don't spend it in this coming year, it could be.
Lost.
It could be a warrant article to move it into a reserve for future use.
Yeah.
Right, whereas if the warrant was worded to put it into a reserve account for the rec department,
okay.
then it would be a non-issue.
Yeah, well, this is what we got.
Yeah. Can I have a vote, please? All in favor? Opposed? 06. Article 38.
To see if the town will vote to appropriate all the funds received from the state from snowmobile registration revenue to local snowmobile clubs for maintaining their snowmobile trails on condition that those trails are to be open to the public for outdoor recreation purposes at no charge.
I make a motion to accept Article 38 as written.
Second.
Any discussion?
Does anybody have any idea how much that money is?
No, Joe.
Okay. $2,000-3,000?
I believe the town clerk would.
Okay. All right.
That's the only thing I can tell you.
Because we have no reports on revenues.
Right. Well, maybe next year we'll do better. I will do my best.
And does that include agent fees or no? Or is that just the registration fee?
Registration
It says
fee.
registration revenue.
So I assume the agent fee still stays with the agent.
With the town?
Yeah.
The town.
Okay.
Okay? All in favor? Did you a yes or no, Ray?
Yes, a yes.
Okay. 6-0. Isn't working, dude.
Raise your hand.
We got a semi-raise over here and a over there.
Listen to Margarita.
Article 39, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $10,000 from the unassigned fund balance to do road assessment work.
Make a motion to.
Hold on. I'm sorry. There's a clerical error here. That number is supposed to be 20. I got an email from Slutman and today, and that number, they asked us to change that number to 20. Is that right, Tom?
Can't change this.
Well, this is not, we're not on the floor of the town meeting.
The Slutman has to change that
When they
dollar.
typed it up, it was a clerical error.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna reread it. Article 39, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $20,000 from the unassigned fund balance to do road assessment work.
I make a motion to accept Article 39 as written.
Just a second.
You mean as amended, not as written?
It is written now.
Yep, second,
Margarita, you second, right?
Thank you.
correct.
Any discussion?
Who's gonna do the assessment work?
The engineering firm that we've,
Excuse me.
well, maybe not. I'm sorry, Tom.
To be determined?
Determined.
Only putting money forward for the assessment. Sebago has put a proposal in, we're gonna talk to the state, and if there are others, we'll do that. We're gonna consider what resource to use.
All right, because, yeah, I mean, I think you probably have seen my email from earlier today. The selectmen apparently didn't realize that the person that they had been trying to contact to do this sold his rights to the state. Local Roads which is a division of Maine DOT, purchased the rights for RSMS. And they are now they have been handling it for quite some time. I let as road committee chair, let the road selectmen know that the program had been updated to Windows 10. They are working on making it web-based. The road committee had brought the road ranger at the time to train us to do the road assessments. And we had done the survey back in 2018. When the information was finally input, it was survey from 2018. The road committee had offered to update the survey, and we were told that it wasn't necessary, that the road commissioners had all of the information they needed to put into the system to make it current. That never happened. The road commissioners were supposed to go in every week and input all of that data and use the reports that that the RSMS can generate. to help assist them in prioritizing what work needed to be done, and the scope of the work, whether the roads needed no maintenance, whether it needed to be rehabilitated, whether it needed to be redone. This program will tell all of that by the information that's put in through the survey and the updates. This program has not been given the opportunity to work because the road commissioners have not followed through on that. And spending $20,000 for an assessment that we have already done and that the road committee was willing to do again, I think is money not well spent. And I will leave it at that.
Now, it's my understanding that the RSMS software is only on one computer. It's a standalone, single license software package.
No, it is not a single license software package. The road commissioners can call the state and request that they be sent the program, because I have the program on my computer, because as the road chair, I had requested that.
And they know this.
I told them that.
Okay, that's, a yes would be fine, then, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was my understanding that the bottleneck is it's only installed on Jennifer's computer in town here,
Right.
and they can only access it when she's there.
They
Better yet.
they don't recommend doing that. Like I said, the web-based is in the pipeline, and we all know how software how long software changes can take. They don't recommend that it be done separately with our system of two road commissioners, because then the reports aren't cohesive.
Merge them, right.
So
I-
they don't
But there should-
recommend that.
In town, since that's not under Jennifer's purview or her expertise, it should be on a separate computer that they have access to, so that they can come in here anytime during the day and input their data.
I
That was
want to
supposedly
bring
gonna
this
happen.
back to the fact of whether we want to appropriate $20,000 to have an assessment. And the other discussion is good for Board of Selectmen, town meeting, or road committee.
Yep.
I want to bring it back to,
The article.
I think it's a good idea, but I don't think that what I remember from the description of the assessment of the subsurface of the roads was addressed in the sense that they wouldn't be doing any cores or to determine how much gravel or whatever was underneath the pavement.
again, Joe, that's the contract that the selectmen would negotiate. It hasn't been negotiated
Well,
yet.
yeah, but as a taxpayer, I think that's important.
Oh, so do I.
As a taxpayer, this, what they were submitted as a proposal is exactly what RSMS is. It's a road
Yeah, I
surface.
remember hearing that too.
Yeah, it's a road surface, that's all they're looking at.
As a selectman, I would love to see the road committee and the selectmen and the road agents get together. There is so much confusion about
Right.
this. This article is simply to determine whether we want a professional assessment done. We are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on paving. I think there ought to be, personally, an assessment done to make sure that we're spending that in a wise way. It seems to me we're spending a lot of money reclaiming roads. I don't know that that's absolutely the best way to be doing some of our roads. And so I think bringing in someone to help us figure that out and create a plan makes a great deal of sense. But at some point, the road committee and the selectmen need to get together and talk.
Right.
Because I'm so tired of hearing about this program that never gets off the ground and never is used. And we're spending all kinds of time and money trying to maintain this, I'm sorry, this whole thing is ludicrous the way this is operating.
Problem I have with that is if you hire an engineering firm, and it's going to be proprietary information, they're going to give you an assessment for that year, and there's no means, unless you put it into the package, for the town to update it or to keep it current from year to year. Whereas the software has already been purchased by the town, there's people trained to do it, the information's there, we just have to use it.
I'm not arguing which way to do it, Charlie.
Right.
I'm just saying, let's do it. That's all.
And so I think this is
I agree.
I will, once again, mention, and this issue will continue to be a problem until the base of these roads is,
but see, a lot of that information, you'll be able to extract from a surface condition, an annual update. If the software gets updated regularly to where at this mile mark or at this footage mark or whatever, however you want to station, they call them stations in surveying.
How we get there is another issue.
Such a station, if there's a recurring issue with a pothole here, that tells you don't need to spend $100,000 for a coring contract. You have a problem there, you dig up that section, improve whatever the subsurface is there, the rock that keeps getting pushed up every year, by frost, fix that, and then you move on. But that's what a surface condition will get you without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars doing corings on roads that by the ordinance are supposed to be limited to 60,000 pound loads.
What we do down the road is a conversation for another meeting. What I want to know is this $20,000, what you want to do, Phil?
Based on, it's a simple article.
Yeah.
It seems like, I've seen this in things we've talked about before. If you allocate money for someone else to do something you're capable of doing, you're kicking the can down the road again and giving yourself another reason to circumvent something even further, in my opinion.
I would encourage.
Again, you get some assessment from someone else, so what? What are you gonna spend to keep it current? What are they actually gonna give you?
I would encourage for people to come to the Selectmen's meeting and push whatever avenue that citizens you'd like to see the Selectmen go.
vote it.
I think it all happens at the town meeting, and we should vote.
Move the motion.
Okay,
Oops.
all in favor? Those opposed? It's 2-4.
Article 40, to see if the town will appropriate $25,530 from American Rescue Plan Act funds to be placed in the West Shore Drive Bridge and Culvert Capital Improvement Fund.
I make a motion to accept Article 40 as written.
Motion, second.
Any discussion? I do stand corrected. I did make the statement last week that that was reserved fund and it's not. So I stand corrected. All in favor? 6-0.
Article 42A, to see if the town will appropriate $75,000 from the town's unassigned fund balance to be placed in the school's capital repairs reserve fund.
I make a motion to accept Article 42A as written.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I did speak to the chairman of the school committee about this, and they have a plan in writing to spend down the unassigned fund balance the school has over the next 3 years, and their plan is to drop it down to about $300,000. And she said that taking the money out of the school's capital would affect their 3-year plan. So they'd rather it was taken out of the town's unassigned fund balance. And she also said that in the last 3 years, the school has given back about $1 million to the town, and they were just like 75,000 of it back, I guess. Any questions after that? All in favor? Oh, go ahead. You had something, Tom? Did you say something? Jeez, I'm hearing things, Tom, I'm sorry.
Why doesn't
Or Joe's got his hand up.
Yeah, that's it.
All right,
done.
all in favor?
Yeah.
6-0.
That's it.
Almost.
Almost.
Last couple. Article 42B, to see if the town will appropriate $75,000 from the school's unassigned fund balance to be placed in the school's capital repairs reserve fund.
I make a motion to accept Article 42B as written.
Second.
All in favor? Wait a minute
Wait a
now.
minute, guys.
You guys are
Wait,
doing
wait.
two different ones
Yeah,
here.
this is different.
This one here is 75 from the school's unassigned fund balance.
Right.
So you can't be in favor of both ways. Then otherwise, we're gonna be giving them 150,000.
Okay, that's what I was questioning.
All right.
So I would assume, unless they made a positive motion, and what you really wanna do is this would be 0 for it and 6 against this article. Does that make sense?
You're absolutely right.
Well, one's coming out of the town fund, the other's coming out of the school undesignated.
So you could vote yes for both if you wanted to give, right? Or is no?
You wanna give them 150,
Right, but that's what they're asking for, no?
No.
No, they're not, okay.
75.
That's why
Okay.
it's A and B, because if one fails, the
Oh,
other.
that's right, she did mention that, I
Yeah.
apologize, I apologize.
And the
Yeah,
selectmen are
B
gonna,
won't appear if we
That's
vote it
right,
down.
yes, I remember the email now.
yeah, right,
Give them 150.
That's good, that's smart.
What happened to 41?
41?
It's gone.
Yeah,
They answered it, but it's not there to discuss.
right,
Yeah, it actually turned into 40.
yeah.
All right, so 42B, what are we doing?
So what was the,
I don't even know what to say about that. I assume we're just not gonna do 41 this year.
Yeah, what happened
It's a
to that?
phantom.
But we're on 42B, so
Yeah,
Right,
what are we doing with that one?
did we vote on it?
yeah, we should vote on it. Vote
0 to 6.
Yeah, they asked us to vote on both,
Yeah.
right? Correct.
Vote it down.
so anyway,
Just a sec.
all in favor? All opposed? Vote no on that, Joe?
Yes, sir.
0 to 6.
Hey, Dennis,
So what happened to 41?
she's gonna shut down at 9.
Oh, yes,
Wanna go to the open-
we're gonna be done.
Just want you to know.
Before we adjourn, I wanna address you, Tom, before you run out of here. This hopefully is gonna be our last, Warrant and Finance Committee meeting this year. We might end up with another one, I'm not sure. But I would just like to say, from the committee, or as a chair, who's been doing this for quite a while, it's been a real pleasure this year, Tom, with all the hard work and stuff you've done, and trying to get our questions answered, and putting up with our many, many questions. And it's been the best year that I can remember for a long time, with getting the information that we needed to do our job.
Well, thank you.
And I
Takes the village.
appreciate that. Yeah.
It does.
And the other thing is, to the committee, this might very well might be my last meeting. You never know what our meeting's gonna do.
Good night, Tom.
But I would like to say that to the committee, for myself, it's been a real privilege, working with everybody here. I think it's been a great year, a lot of good questions, a lot of respect, a lot of good ideas coming back and forth, and I think it was a real positive year.
Thank you, Carson.
And I'd just like to thank everybody for supporting me and, volunteering your time.
So I just want to confirm, thank you. I happen to agree with you on everything. Well, not
Can
everything.
you put that in the minutes?
I got two things that would
Notice
be
how he waits
incorrect.
after the camera's off.
Camera's off, right?
Cameras-
So, just want to confirm that we're in agreement here on how we're going to be wording these on these ones that fail. Is it just going to be the numbers and then motion failed?
Motion failed, that's what you
Okay,
asked
just
for.
so that, yeah, just so that we know what we're looking at.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'll have
to
those
adjourn.
typed up in the morning
Second.
so he can take it. Before y'all leave, I